Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the Wrestle Addict Radio Network.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
What is going on, everybody?
What up, fam?
Hey, it's me.
What up, Oozes?
What's up, guys? This is the Monday Night Delight.
Are you looking for a network that brings you all things pro wrestling? Then look no further. Wrestle Addict Radio brings you a varied source of wrestling content.
What's going on, guys? This is Willie T.
My name's Mr. Fretz.
This is your resident Smart Slayer.
Search for Wrestle Addict Radio on all major podcast platforms and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode.
Buzz, guys. My name is Kate Murphy of the Kings of the Ring podcast, and you are listening.
And you're listening. And you're listening.
And you are listening.
And you are listening.
Get ready for a war, because you're listening.
Come join the war each and every week as we fight to keep wrestling real.
What's up, everybody? This is King Ricky Rose, and you are listening to Wrestle Addict Radio.
What's up, everyone? This is the founder of the King's Wings podcast, Will Tarashuk, Teason Thomas, ARASHUK, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast right here on Wrestle Addict Radio.
All right, Mr. Fretz, you ready to do this?
Yes, sir. Happy New Year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Game Changer 2020. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Game Changer podcast, part of Wrestle Addict Radio. I am indeed NateFNGreat. I am the Game Changer, the it factor of wrestling podcast. I am indeed the man that is going to take this into the future. I'm being joined here by the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be in podcasting. That is indeed the one and only legendary JF, Mr. Fretz.
Here we go, dawn of the new millennium. I already fucked this up, and I already swore, as I said, I wasn't going to. Happy New Year, everybody! This is Mr. Fretz, the Prime Minister of Wrestle Addict Radio, the sole representation of the Great White North on this network, and your favorite Canadian. Sorry, Slack.
I can't think of anybody that has Slack as a favorite Canadian. There is probably that one person that's a fan of the Slack is the greatest fan club, but
Slack's mom. Mrs. Slack.
Shout out to Mrs. Slack. Way to be a supporter. So, Mr. Fretz, how was your New Year's, and how did you end 2019, and how did you start 2020?
Well, I ended 2019 being wanted for robbery in Valentine. And if you get that reference, I have just been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PS4. It was on Boxing Week sale on the eShop. The deluxe version was $47.
Oh.
On the plus side, that. On the downside, it took 2.5 days to download.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Small town internet, man. Holy crap. I had to get a new provider because we just got 5. But it's $67 a month. F that. Christmas, just low-key. Hung out with the kids, my niece and nephew. Entertained them. Traded some Pokemon with the little guy. Had a bonfire. And I got exactly what I wanted. Tea, beer, and underwear. That's it. Very low-key night. How about you, sir?
I got the chance to spend time with my little nephews and got to see them sort of kind of attempt to open gifts. It definitely was one of those things where they not exactly fully grasped on the whole situation and how, opening gifts and stuff like that goes. But there's just some great pictures I took. It's absolutely awesome. Those ones I'm going to kind of keep to myself for the time being. I might just wait until like a year after they're born, just because I kind of want to keep some of these memories to myself. I've shown a couple of pictures of the nephews to other people, but I feel like I just want to keep them to myself for the time being. As far as like Christmas, the only thing I really got this year was a Fitbit watch, which in all honesty, I'm totally fine with. This year was the first year that our family decided to actually ixnay on the Presidente. because we decided to plan a family vacation together. We're still in the process of figuring out what to do for that, but it was kind of fun to do that. But also, my new cousin-in-law, because he's married to my cousin now, he gave me some awesome gifts. I got Glass Blu-ray DVD, which is great. A new nice dressed-up shirt. I also got the movie that is already a winner in my book, that being Fighting With My Family, because it's awesome. Yeah, and honestly, before the year was kind of over, I got the chance to do the podcast with Val. Definitely check that out on Wrestle Addict Radio, along with so many other great podcasting stations. It's a great show. A lot of fun, and Val and I are going to be going back at it again in February for a special Valentine's-themed episode, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, I feel like the Mike Kanellis theme song is going to be making a comeback in that deal, because it's the most wonderful time to get your heart broken. That's a little bit of a mouthful. I don't care. But New Year's Eve, got the chance to do a family, dinner. It was great. Got to spend more time with the nephews again. And I also started a tradition where me and my brother are going to be doing like at least one shot during New Year's Eve, just to kind of commemorate it. So, yeah, starting off a little bit of a tradition. And we had it was Crown Royal Regal Apple, what it was. And literally my brother said it tastes like apple juice, which is probably a bad thing. And I think after the second shot, I was like, oh wow, this does taste like apple juice. I need to stop, just because I'll be tempted to do more than just 2 shots. Yeah, that was kind of how it was. And to kind of start the 2020, getting the chance to show people that, hey, here's the interview for Val, for Wrestle Addict Radio. And then day 2 happens, and I listened into the Kings of the Rings podcast. Now, I will say this, that I did preface this on the group chat, that I would only take shots if they took so many shots. They just barely made it before I started thinking, like, okay, I'm going to get the ammunition. So, Will made a comment where he said that if I was sillier, that I could be Otis, which I could... Which, honestly, I agree with that. I think that he only saw, like, so much silliness from me, so I guess you see my silly side, so you kind of could see me, probably playing stunt double for Otis in the future. Who knows? The other thing that...
Cosplay. C2E2, bro, do it.
Oh, man. Maybe.
Shirtless and all.
Oh, my gosh. Just walk around, just, like, penciled chest hairs. Just walk around all, like stiff and just be like, "Whoa, pretty lady!" Just
pencil in. Well, I'm not going to need that.
Okay, so be sure to send those to me. FedEx them to. Oh my gosh. Oh shoot. What was the other one? Yeah. I remember. Will thought that for like promotion of the year that I was going to put ACW Wisconsin. Look, Will. I talk very highly about it because I support independent wrestling, but also because these guys are awesome. So I'm sorry that I decided to go in a different outlet besides WWE. What of it?
I thought you would, though, to be honest.
That would have been kind of funny now thinking about it. But
that Soul Impact is totally you, wasn't it?
I don't think... No, it wasn't, actually. I remember, I think I voted for every single one that was on there, both times. I did try. I wanted to do like once a day, but I didn't get a chance to because with the new job and everything, it just kind of didn't happen. But now that I've got everything a steady deal, now I can listen to more podcasts. I can actually do some more stuff. But yeah, I probably should have done that. I think the only thing that I probably had an issue with the Diamonds of the Decades was that AJ Lee was not on the list for women of the decade because I understand. People are probably going to say, she didn't really do that much. She wrestled for like about a year. Okay, so I'm kind of biased when it comes to AJ because when she was in NXT, she was kind of the woman that I literally had like that little like, high school crush on just because of the fact that she was like, hey, it's okay to be a nerd. I like video games. I like stuff like that. And I'm just literally like, oh my God, where is she right now? I need to find her. I need to marry this woman. She was literally one of those things where like, it's cool to be a geek. And then when she did her, infamous, quote-unquote, pipe bomb against the Divas division, that was great. And she had one of the best rivalries, with Paige, and people kind of forget about that because it's such an I believe it's an underrated deal. I mean, the first match that they had after WrestleMania 30, which did take place in 2014, you guys got that right, Kings of the Ring. And then they, wrestled throughout the summertime, kind of trading the belt back and forth, but at least it was for good reason. And then, of course, Survivor Series happened, and it was all a blur to me. All I saw was Brie kissing Nikki, and not Brie kissing AJ, and then next thing I know, Nikki Bella is the champion. I'm like, what? What just happened? What? That was literally my mindset when that happened. Like kiss, match start, match end, and then I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And then of course Sting happened, and I'm like, okay, this makes me forget about everything else that happened in the night. I think I lost my train of thought. Oh, right, AJ Lee. But yeah, that's again just my opinion. I that's my only thing, is that I wish I would have put her down on the list. There's also a couple other people I could have put on there just to spite other people, because in all honesty, that episode may have been like Diamonds of the Decade, but let's face it, I dubbed it as King Ricky's Hell Day because of furry Lars Lovin Murphy and Auto-Tune Will. just those two doing everything that they're doing. It's just absolutely hilarious. Oh man, I'm sorry, dude. I don't mean to kill you, but
no, that was the beer going down the wrong pipe.
But I know a lot of people don't want us talking about our other camaraderies, other podcasts. They want to hear our thoughts about some things that are going on in wrestling, and we do have a good show for you guys here tonight. We will be talking about the NXT awards that took place this past week, which honestly turned out pretty good. We had an AEW episode that absolutely is just skyrocketing us to not only Revolution, but also to 2020. It's just absolutely awesome. And as well, we are starting off the year with a New Year's Revolution from 2006. This is going to be an interesting show to talk about, to say the least. But let's not waste any time. Let's first talk about AEW. So overall, this was a pretty solid show to actually start off the year. I have here it was actually called AEW Dynamite Homecoming, which is kind of funny because last year they had Impact Homecoming, but that was at the old asylum they had in Tennessee. They had their promo package that basically highlighted the past year and such. It was great. It definitely showcased AEW's finest, everything like that. And also, they had the question of, are we still elite, or was this just a fluke? And they kind of proved here that they can still be elite. In this deal, we actually have Excalibur, Jim Ross, and Taz. He was filling in for Tony, who unfortunately was feeling ill-willed. So Taz filled in. In all honesty, it's great to hear Taz back on the microphone again. As Fretz is doing the Taz cross-arm.
The cross-arms Taz thing.
Oh, that's great.
And it's kind of ironic that we're talking about Taz here, because 20 years ago, he had debuted for the WWE, and I'm covering that in a Royal Rumble 2000 review, which is going to be up on WrestleAddict Radio Patreon, but as well as my Fretzlemania feed. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, Taz and I was thinking to myself, Taz and JR, I'm like, did they ever do TV together? And I think it was you that brought to my attention that they I guess used to do SmackDown.
Yeah, that is correct. I think it was in 2000. I want to say 7, because it was really weird. They did the whole draft lottery deal, and it was during a women's matchup. Both teams got counted out, and they said both Raw and SmackDown are going to get a draft pick. And literally, it was one of the most awkward things that have ever happened, because JR got drafted to SmackDown, and Michael Cole got drafted to Raw, and it was just the most awkward thing in all of professional wrestling. I guarantee people will look at that and think, was this planned or something? It's like, no, I think they just wanted the reaction. I think that's what the plan was to have JR have that reaction of being like, what? But I don't think it worked out for them that well. It was something, to say the least.
Yeah, I actually totally, excuse me, totally forgot about that. I mean, it was great to hear. I was great to hear Taz. I've been a big fan of his since he was in ECW, and since he came and transitioned over to the commentary role, and he hasn't missed a step. He's been pretty good. I mean, JR gets a lot of flack, but I think he was decent this week, and maybe Taz would have. I don't want to say Taz helped him out because JR is like a mentor to Taz, but they sounded all right.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, and I'm hoping that this is not just a one and done deal. That maybe we get Taz a little bit longer. I mean, he was doing stuff for AW Dark a while back. Also, Vicky Guerrero did some commentary for AW Dark, which
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, which I need to catch up on my AW Dark because some of these people, because everybody's saying like, oh, this match on AW Dark was amazing and blah blah. It's like, yeah, I need to start watching that. I also need to start watching NWA Power again because, well, it's NWA Power and it's got Nick freaking Aldis as the champion. Magnus, he's amazing. He's amazing.
And
Aaron Stevens, yes. We're talking about AEW. If we get into NWA throughout the year, we'll definitely bring that up. But for the time being, let's talk about AEW. So we kicked off with Darby Allin versus Cody 2, and Arn Anderson is in Cody's corner, kind of as a mentor, as a kind of coach to him, which, in all honesty, he did a pretty damn good job of that. It was kind of one of those things where they kept paneling back to Arn Anderson, and there were some points where he's basically saying, oh, you gotta, keep your arms up, or you gotta get your legs up, you gotta do this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he literally was acting like a coach for Cody, which is awesome, because it's something that I don't think we really see that much anymore. Kind of starting this off, we see Darby Allin and Cody kind of go back and forth a bit until Darby gets the arm of Cody and starts working on that to kind of really slow him down a little bit. Nice double arm submission maneuver by Darby Allin, just as it seems like Cody was going to get the ropes, but he was able to get it with his foot. Darby Allin showing a little bit of a heel side to him during this matchup, because we see him expose the turnbuckle, to which the fans are kind of in shock, but then as soon as it kind of sinks in, you just hear instant heat. People are just booing that. They're not liking it. Cody would answer with a snap power slam, kind of shades of his older brother, but it's still awesome. Nice, super reverse superplex by Cody, but also that, super code red by Darby Allin. Woo! That was beautiful. And, hey, Darby Allin hits Fretz's favorite maneuver, the coffin drop, onto Cody, who is lying on the apron. I know, your spine is tingling, and I apologize. Darby Allin was going for I call it the Allin Stunner, but it gets countered into a crossroads for a very near 3 count. Cody Rhodes is looking to get some advantage back. He runs into the exposed turnbuckle, and normally that would be the end of the matchup. But you hear Arn Anderson saying, like, get your knees up, get your knees up. And as Darby Allin is doing the coffin drop, Cody gets his knees up. Darby Allin hits the knees. He's in pain. He gets rolled up for the 1, 2, 3. Cody gets a measure of revenge on Darby Allin. What a great way to start off 2020 with this matchup.
Absolutely. These two absolutely tore it down. I wouldn't mind, seeing seeing a little bit more of, Cody and Darby. They have great chemistry in the ring together. When Cody went for that top rope reverse superplex, for just a millisecond, I thought, there is no way on God's green earth he is hitting a top rope crossroads. I mean,
I thought the same thing.
You would need some super cooperation and choreography, that's the word I was looking for, to really nail a move like that. But from that vantage point, I don't think it would have been possible. Maybe if he, you know what, I'm gonna really have to have a think about this and see in my mind how the heck that this would actually work without them killing each other. I love Darby. That coffin drop is dumb. And I'm only saying that as a man with a fused spine. It just makes me cringe every time seeing that. But Arn Anderson, I thought, well, Arn Anderson, I don't know if he ever had any actual matches with Dusty, but I'm like, Dusty always fought against the Four Horsemen. So I'm thinking in my mind how long this is going to last, whether Arn's going to turn on him or whichever. Some people are starting to spread rumor in innuendo about Ric Flair, like his Legends contract is up or something like that. I don't know. I don't think he'll end up back in Turner. I think Flair can just appear anywhere, wherever he wants, and just right out into the sunset. He's 70. I mean, I met him not last year, but the year before, and that was when he was just out of the hospital from his health scare.
Wow.
That he had, and I didn't think I was going to meet him. Is that he had? I don't remember what he had, but he had some surgery or he had some health complications. But then he started cutting promos in the hospital, thinking, "Okay, Nature's back. There we go." And in that moment where he got out of the hospital, Charlotte won the women's title, and she's on the ramp, and what do you hear? Woo! And then everyone cries.
Yeah, I remember that moment.
Goosebumps. But Horseman stuff, right there, man.
Yeah. No,
I would love to see some Horseman stuff though with this iteration of AEW, because Arn, if you think about it, this is the first time Arn Anderson's been on Turner Wrestling since 2000.
Wow, that's crazy. And another thing to kind of consider is the fact that Arn Anderson is managing Cody. Tully Blanchard is managing Shawn Spears. So we could see some kind of Horseman deal going on. In all honesty, if they do a deal where they have Cody and Shawn Spears team up, that would be good. And then they would have two of the biggest powers, two of the smartest, the best minds in wrestling, Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. I think I'm getting a brain freeze just from it being that epic. It feels like it's a hell freezing. It feels like a hell freezing over moment, but I think it could happen.
It's because of the brain busters. They're busting your brain.
There we go. There's the pun. Welcome to 2020 Game Changer. So we have SCU in the back. They basically talk about what took place at 2019, where they talk about the Dark Order. They talk about the tag team division. Sammy Guevara, he gets involved, and he's basically talking about how Daniels probably doesn't have it anymore. So Daniels said, okay, well, why don't we find out about that next week? So we get Daniels versus Sammy Guevara set up for next week, and I think it was either Daniels or Kazarian. They I think they licked their thumb and then they licked Sammy's phone, and he's just freaking out. He's like, "Oh no, dude, this is a Christmas gift," and he's trying to get the interviewer to wipe his phone, and she's just running away. It's like, God dang it, what is going on? This is AEW. Next matchup on the card is the 4-way Women's World Championship matchup. Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida challenging Rio. Didn't even get any proper introductions. Literally, Rio got in the matchup, and then Nyla Rose grabbed the belt. Bonk! Hits Rio. Bonk! Hits Britt Baker. Goes for Shida. She ducks, and Shida takes her saber. I know it's a kendo stick, but I'm calling it a saber because it's cooler and it's Star Wars. So sue me. She takes her saber and just goes crazy on Nyla Rose, and it was awesome. We see... Oh, and here's the thing. Table time! Because Nyla Rose set up a table on the outside. I did not mean for that to be a musical, but somehow it did. Again, sue me. Nyla Rose set up Shida onto the table, and she hits the senton from the apron to the outside. And it seemed like Shida was going to be, taken out of the equation. Rio does the little stomp that she does to Nyla Rose's butt, which I thought, okay, that's kind of funny. I know that was supposed to be an impactful deal, but at the same time, I would have loved to seen somebody just being like, that's not proper physics. Rio should have just bounced off of Nyla's butt and into the crowd. I'm sorry.
Springboard.
Oh my god. Oh, that would have been amazing. That's like a what is it? 2K, like a 2K 2020 physics. No, 2020 physics would just be shit.
Or it wouldn't work.
Oh no, here comes the pain. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Where just things go crazy. Anyway, Britt Baker hits the DDT from the ropes, but I call it the Daddy DDT because all hail Daddy Ciampa. I'm just going to sidetrack just for a minute here because I think we've kind of found out that I have now realized that there are like three men that I would literally switch sides for. Ryan Reynolds is number one, Rusev is number two, and Ciampa I think would be number three. And it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, you'd have sex with. It's like, no, honestly, I would just be gay with them just so I could just hang out with them. Literally, that's the only reason why. I mean, honestly, Ryan Reynolds is just, funny, and he's probably one of those guys that would literally take care of you. Rusev is like this big cuddly teddy bear that I just want to hug it for like ever. And then there's Daddy Ciampa. It's Daddy Ciampa. What can I say? Going in a weird direction here, but whatever. Shida decides to wreck everyone in this matchup. It goes absolutely crazy. Nyla Rose goes for a nice swanton that hits absolutely nothing. And just hearing her like hit there, and she just screams like ah! This was so hilarious. Oh my gosh, I thought that was just funny. It looked like Britt Baker was going to get the lockjaw on Shida, and we see Shida kind of counter with like a pinning predicament, gets a close 2 count. Rio comes in for a 3 count, and Rio retains her title. And we also find out that it's going to be Rio versus Statlander next week for the Women's World title. And just to get her heat back, Nyla Rose sends Rio through the table. Because, why not?
Testify. Yeah, this was an enjoyable match. Before the match even began, I thought, I think I was talking to, it might have been the group chat, but I was saying that, excuse me, I was going to predict Nyla Rose to win this one, but once I saw her knock everyone down then pose with the title, I knew it wasn't happening right then and there, because that's not usually, if you're a big believer in 50-50 booking, I'm not. I think it's a crock of crap, even though, coincidentally, sometimes it does happen. But, these four, they can put on a great match. I'm really liking what Hikaru Shida brings to the table. Riho has been a decent undercard champion, although I think, well, no, I was going to say maybe it's time for drop the title, and gosh, she only won it in November. But I've always thought that she'd be the great underdog who would eventually lose it to a monster heel like a Nyla Rose or a Awesome Kong. But since I do not like this Nightmare Collective thing, so maybe not for Awesome Kong. But yeah, the women's division, I think they have great wrestlers and great performers. I kind of want to see more out of it, and maybe more women's matches with things at stake.
No,
but still damn good.
No, I definitely do agree with you, and I actually did not document this in my notes for some reason, but there was a backstage interview. I don't know if it was after this matchup or if it was a little later onto the show. Basically, one of the announcers is talking to Rio about the matchup next week, and Britt Baker, she comes in, and she is just saying, "Oh yeah, you take advantage of this whole entire system. You take advantage of this. You take advantage of this. I'm here, 24/7 doing this and busting my ass doing this whole deal." And all I'm thinking to myself is, we're getting a Britt Baker heel turn. I believe it, and honestly, I think she would do a fantastic job as a heel, and I still want her to hold that championship. That was the main thing that, I can't complain about. You mentioned, wanting to see more of the women's division. The problem that everybody has definitely been kidding me on the fact is that where WWE can still have, matches with the women that are just complete and utter trash, at least you can still kind of look at the women and know that they have a character behind them. With AEW, they're still not at the point where each one of these women have their own kind of character. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, they're women. Hey, they wrestle really well. It's like, that's great, but we kind of would like a little more depth with them. We kind of would like to see a little more to them. And the fact that, Britt Baker is one of the first that's actually getting a characteristic here, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful to kind of see that. And you understand her frustration. She's there, so many days out of the year trying to prove that she is the best, and she's kind of getting, shafted for it because Rio is, an international star. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I would love to see more of that and maybe add some more personality to the women, because Britt Baker, she's she's one of the most vocal, but she's also one of the best right now. And like I said, all I want is Britt Baker to hold that belt for the rest of 2020. That's what I want.
This leads into one of my AEW predictions. I just wrote down a list of things that I think are or should or could happen in 2020. They're just my personal crystal balls, but I'm just going to say one of mine is that Britt Baker's going to have that title at some point.
No, I can definitely agree with that. Yeah, like I said, if she wins it like soon, I will be very happy with it. And it's one of those things where I think that she could give that belt more prestige. Yes, Riho is a tremendous athlete. The problem is, though, she's not really there all the time. She's kind of there for select dates. And, that's cool to have that sometimes, but at the same time, we already had something like that with WWE by a guy by the name of Brock Lesnar. So we don't want them to go down that path again, because that would just be bad. Anyway, we're getting into another realm here. We have Joey Janela. He's backstage. He's doing a nice little interview here. And what's actually kind of funny is that when he just started to, as he was talking, I just hear him just go from just talking to be like, and I'm just like, did he just nut or something? What the heck? And then the camera pans down. It's like, oh, Penelope Ford. Okay. There's the reason. So it looks like they're going to continue the rivalry between Kip Sabian and Joey Janela. Honestly, I'm wondering what else. Well, I'm wondering who they could probably have to work with Joey Janela to kind of even the odds. I don't know. That's going to be very interesting to kind of see who they probably try to bring in to kind of even the odds to them, because obviously you can't just have male on female action. But do you have any ideas, Fretz, on who maybe Joey could recruit?
Oh, you know what? You were saying even the odds, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like Jimmy Havoc, and then when you were talking about Penelope Ford, I'm like, oh. And I thought for a second, but it's impossible because this particular lady, I think, is having health problems. Daphne? I thought I heard something about her having something. I forget what. I don't know if it was something I heard on a Mick Foley interview or something. I'm just going to go on a left field and just say it just for shit because we were talking about her earlier. SoCal Val. Hi, Val. Bring her in. I would mark out. And I actually got a like and then a tweet from her this morning because I listened to your interview with Val was funny. Sucks that the first couple of minutes were Matt Hardy on you.
Like I said, for those of you that don't know what he's referring to, is that I forgot to record the first 3 minutes because I, like a dum-dum, forgot to hit the record button. The speaker button to turn on the microphone. So literally, I'm doing an Adam Blampier old-fashioned deal where he went from he did a video where he was talking about the whole Seth Rollins what just happened when he wrecked his knee, and then he went from there to a how WWE should book super fast. And honestly, I thought to myself, are people even going to understand what the hell I just said during that entire segment? Because I felt like I was Adam Blampier going into overdrive just doing that. And I'm thinking to myself, is any of that going to be intelligible for human minds? Are they going to literally just be like, okay, where's the slowdown button on here? I think the podcast is broken. It's like, nope, that's just Nick going fast.
Oops. Botchamania.
Well, it's a small botchamania though. We get another message from Dark Order to join them. Basically, next matchup on here is Trent versus Jon Moxley. Oh my gosh! And can I just say, Justin Roberts just saying Jon Moxley is one of the best things. I literally am watching this and I'm thinking to myself, he is the modern day Tony Chimmel from when he did, Edge's, rated R superstar deal. Oh my gosh. It's one of those things where I feel like he's trying to one up Tony, but at the same time, he's making it his own, so I give him that. This matchup, it was very physical. Literally, very few wrestling holds were applied here. This was just them doing like chops and hits. There was like one brutal elbow that Moxley hit on Trent that literally took him down. And I was like, ooh, jeez. My God. Trent got thrown into the barricade. He kind of rebounds off it, hits a spear on Moxley. A beautiful tornado DDT by Trent. Oh my Lord. I love to see him do that. Trent, he goes for the knee, he misses, but Jon Moxley hits his version of the knee and does his double arm chicken wing face buster for a very near 3 count. I like how they called this. They call this a haymaker clothesline. Anytime that somebody hits a clothesline that's so brutal that the person goes inside out, I think it needs to be dubbed that. I think that's the best way to do it. We get your boy Orange Cassidy in the matchup. He comes in and he just decides, I'm just going to put my hands in my pockets. And then Moxley's just like, oh yeah, I could do that too. Trent Beretta takes advantage of that. Trent hits a pile driver on Moxley for a very, very close 3 count. We get a little bit on the outside. Paradigm shift onto the stage. But then Moxley decides, you know what? One more time. Hits another paradigm shift on the in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley continues to be undefeated and continues his momentum as he is still the number 1 contender for the AEW World Championship. They mentioned that very heavily. And what we get next is going to be something to behold. But honestly, before we get too deep into that, Fretz, how did you feel about this very physical match between Trent and Moxley?
This was very, very good, and I thought it was akin to, before we were getting ready here, I was also watching a bit of New Japan from earlier this year, in which Jon Moxley wrestled Juice Robinson, and that was as physical as hell, too, and I think Juice got busted open in this match, and it just reminded me of that, and I so badly wanted Jon Moxley to DDT Orange Cassidy. When Cassidy put his hands in his pockets, I'm just like, DDT him now. Do it. Here's your chance. Do it. But I thought it was funny when he did the pockets thing himself. But I'll have to wait another day to see Orange get dropped on his head. But I'll give it that. This was funny, and you could kind of see it in the background. But Cassidy had a couple of cool facial, reactions instead of his nonchalant, meh shades deal. So maybe they weren't meant to pick that up, but yeah, that was a very, very good match. And Trent, I just call him Trent Beretta because I'm just remembering. Do you remember the Dude Busters? I think he tagged with a guy in WWECW. Yeah,
Kalen Croft, I believe it was.
Kalen Croft, that's right, yeah. And I wonder where that guy went, honestly. I think he retired, from what I understand. But, yeah, Trent, I mean, these two were just red hot. I think that was the best match of the night.
No, I definitely agree with you. I mean, the main event was good, but I think that Moxley versus Trent was just the absolute physicality that proved that wrestling can be absolutely one of the most bone-chilling things in all of sports entertainment. So Sammy, he comes out, he goes through the crowd, and Moxley's just like, oh, hell no. He grabs a chair from the outside into the ring, and Sammy's like, whoa, hold on, man. I don't know why I'm making Sammy Guevara Western, but okay. He basically says, hold on. I'm not here to, hurt you. Just here to reveal the gift. And Jericho is on the he's on the screen, and he says that he's got this enticing offer for Jon Moxley, where he basically says that he wants Moxley to be a partner with Jericho. Says he wants to give Moxley 49% of the Inner Circle LC, I believe is what he referred to it as. To which I'm like, 49%? Wow, that's crazy. But I also think in the back of my mind, 49%, which means that he gets 51%. Yep. He still got the power just by that whole 2%. And he also offers Moxley a Ford GT, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Okay. Very beautiful car, and it even has. And they literally said they got everything all set up for you. They got the license plate, which said Mox on it. They have it all insured. It's all set and ready to go. And all I'm thinking to myself is, wow, Mox is going to burn them, isn't he? There's no way that car is going to John Moxley unless he literally takes it, like AJ Styles did with Dixie Carter back in the Impact days, which was a really awesome moment, though. He basically says, this is all for you. All you have to do is just say yes to being a part of the inner circle. Drives off with the car. Moxley says, well, you're giving me a lot to think of, so I'll tell you what. I will tell you face-to-face next week what my decision is. So we have another thing to look forward to for next week, and people are not happy about that, but it's like, you know what? It keeps the eyes on the product. They are definitely doing a good job of that. And then we get a very unique deal in which Sammy Guevara grabs these cards. And he is just, during the commercial break, he's just holding this up, and he's just like, and it's just literally saying like, oh yeah, Moxley, once you come up with your decision, hit me up. Then he follows it up with, Victoria Justice's sister, hit me up. And then he has his Twitter and Instagram handles. It's just one of those situations where I'm just dying of laughter. Like, oh my God, Sammy Guevara, he's so cool to meet in person. He's dubbed the Spanish God, and he is a guy who is making cards where he's the next generation of Chris Jericho. He's getting cards over. What the absolute hell is this? Oh my gosh, I loved it. Which leads into Sammy Guevara versus Dustin Runnels, in which Dustin decides, I'm going to go through the back door. He goes from behind, attacks Sammy Guevara before the match even starts. Dustin does this senton from the apron to the outside, and that was just absolutely amazing. The fact that he's still able to just continue to reinvent himself, to rejuvenate himself. It's just amazing just to see that. But all good things must come to an end. We were having a good matchup here, and then out comes I can't say that anymore. Jake Hager, he comes out. He is just kind of looking on, seeing what's up, and blah blah blah. Brutal snap power slam by Dustin to Sammy on the outside. That was great. And also, what the absolute hell is this? He does a flip pile driver to Sammy Guevara on the apron. Why would you want to kill this man? And, oh my God, Dustin, where have you been all these years? Just, holy crap. We just see that, and what's funny is that I go back to the card thing. He literally brings to Dustin, and he does this deal where he's like, what is it going to be today? A broken hand, a broken foot, maybe this, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. It's just funny. He has all these, like cartoons of a broken hand and foot. So literally it was like, well, Dustin doesn't have a broken hand or foot, but you do have probably a concussion, Mr. Guevara. So we see all this happening. Sammy is distracting the referee. Hager comes in with a low blow. I use that with large quotations because it looked more like just a kick to the stomach from a vantage point. But maybe it was a low blow. But that was enough to give Sammy the victory. And yeah, this was just kind of a smaller matchup that, was basically, I think, a prelude of what's to come. I think that there's going to be a bigger matchup between Sammy and Dustin in the future.
I think, in a way, this might set up Sammy to be the legend killer of this group because he beat Dustin Runnels. Excuse me. And next week, he's got a match against Christopher Daniels. Ooh. So maybe this young Spanish sex god or Spanish god, whichever. He's probably both, but yeah, I'm digging everything Sammy is here, and all that friggin' card video is missing is that cheesy inspirational music that all those. I'm not making light of these, but it's like those depressed kids with or like the do 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 toot 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 toot.
Oh,
or like
yeah.
Or like some like emo music, like The Used. Shout out to Ant. I'm not making fun of The Used, Ant. They're awesome, but yeah, something like that. It's like you get all those. I don't want to speak about. I don't want to make light of these, but it's like it reminds me of those. Well, I'll say it, those depression videos with the cards, like the I can't talk about blah blah blah, and I got vibes out of that, and I felt kind of bad for having those vibes. But Sammy, I mean I think this kid is primed to have one big future. Is just because I'm drawing parallels to Evolution here, just because that's. When you have a super group, you're always drawing comparisons to the NWO. You're drawing comparisons to Evolution, DX. But in a way, Sammy, he just reminds me of a young Randy Orton. Young, hungry, talented, good-looking. He's got it.
Now, the only thing I would say is that I do see where you're coming from with that. And you have to remember that Triple H during I think it was the Batista DVD, he made a comment where it's like, everybody's focused on Randy Orton and stuff like that, and Triple H said, like, you're putting all your focus on here. The thing is that he's not going to be the big star. It's going to be Batista. I feel like it's backwards for that, where it could be a situation where people are going to be focused on Haggard so much that they're going to be overlooking Sammy Guevara, and he's going to surprise the hell out of so many people. Honestly, I would be surprised if we do not see Sammy Guevara as AEW World Champion in the future. That is how confident I am in his ability to not only wrestle, but also to be that big of a star.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you there.
So, we get a nice little backstage deal with the private party. They're talking about their New Year's revolutions and blah, blah, stuff like that. Hangman Page, he just comes in, he grabs some alcohol, and then private party kind of, getting his... They're kind of like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing, dealing with our deals? Stealing our booze and stuff like that, and then Hangman just kind of gets all flustered and just walks away, but not before grabbing the beverage away, which is like, okay. So this was a weird backstage deal. It was kind of one of those things where Private Party was just trying to have a nice little interview, and Hangman Page just decided, no, I want to make it about me, which, fair enough. All right, Maria, your boy's in the house. MJF comes out and he makes the stipulations for a match with Cody Rhodes at Revolution. Now, the stipulations he had 3 stipulations to it. The first being no touching, because why not? It's the most easy way to get heel heat, in all honesty. He basically just says, you touch me, then there's no matchup whatsoever. The second stipulation was that he would need to defeat his bodyguard, his big man on campus, Wardlow, in a steel cage match. To which I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be really good. I'm very interested in if they get rid of the, escape stipulation or something like that. Who knows? And the third stipulation was that he basically tells Cody to get down on his hands and knees and to be whooped by MJF. Not once, not twice, not 5 times, not 7 times, but 10 times. To which I'm looking at this thinking they're kind of recreating the whole deal between Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman. To which I say, yeah, I think that would be a good way to get Cody, kind of like the sympathy deal. But at the same time, it's easy to hate MJF because he's such a bastard. But I think that this is going to be one of those things where if Cody does go through with this, that there should be no question the amount of lengths that Cody is willing to go to make AEW a successful company. Yeah,
I'm loving everything MJF does, and there was a neat little thing here. I don't know if it was. I'm splitting hairs here. I'm going before, but Hangman Page was out for a match, or is that after this part?
It's still a little bit later on, so we're getting there.
Okay, because I had something funny about that. But MJF, someone shared this video of he kissed some girl in the crowd in the front row, and then a couple of people up from her on his way up the ramp, he just whips off this guy's. He just takes this guy's hat off and whips it into the crowd.
Oh my gosh!
What a bastard! I want to be as hated as MJF. I love him. And Frank, yes, the Leafs beat the Jets 6-3. In your face, TJ. He'll never hear this. He's in our Canada group chat with Nikki and Danny, and right now Nikki is probably freaking out.
As is her right to. Backstage interview with Jurassic Express, basically talking about what's to come in 2020. It's really weird because you try to understand what Jungle Boy's trying to say, and then there's like a cutoff point where the microphones got shut off for like a Luchasaurus deal, which I thought sucked. The highlight of this whole entire ordeal is freaking Marco Stunt, literally just gazing at the interviewer. He has his hand going for. I think it's one of those situations where it's like he's acting like he's seeing a bare shoulder for the first time ever, or possibly boobies. And literally the interview almost ends with him trying to get a hug from the interviewer. And Lucha and Jungle Boy are like, no. So I'm literally on the ground laughing, watching Marco Stunt just trying to pick up this woman. I'm just thinking, what the fuck is this? But it's amazing. Marco Stunt is a legend. He is. I'm calling this right now. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer in professional wrestling's Hall of Fame. I don't care what anybody says. He is that legendary at this point. Okay. Yep. Now is where we got the deal between Britt Baker and Rio. But okay. So they announced the matches for next week, in which we have Rio and Statlander for the Women's World Championship. We have the Lucha Bros taking on the Rhodes Brothers, which will be amazing, and it's a first-time ever deal, so that's going to be awesome. We also had Private Party taking on Hangman and Omega, and the final thing they mentioned was Moxley answering Chris Jericho's enticing offer to join the Inner Circle. So already the second episode of AEW is going to be absolutely electric. Holy crap! Just take my money now. Oh wait, you already did. That's right. I'm going to Revolution. That's right. Got it. Okay. Now we're getting to the main event, which is the Elite taking on Pact and the Lucha Bros. But before we get into that, you did mention something about Hangman Page because he is on commentary during this matchup.
Okay, so this was just an absolutely hilarious bit because they did. They introduced him, so he was like, I'm talking to you. I'm doing my side profile here, and he looks through the camera like, with the drink in his hand, and it said on his. Speaking of, I need a drink here in a minute, but yeah, it has title card. Hangman Page has been drinking, so somebody on Twitter freaking took that bit and inserted it into the Full House theme. so they started. I'll send it to you later, but it started off with just the regular, like Bob Saget, Candace Cameron, Everywhere You Look, and it's then it shows Hangman Page doing the drink in his hand. That part of wrestling Twitter I love. I wish I can give that person a shout. I'm going to go through my feed here and give that person a shout out. It was surprisingly it wasn't Botchamania, but just outrageous. I lost my crap laughing to that. It was just so good, and they were like, "You know this was inevitable," and they're like, "I wouldn't have thought of that."
I wouldn't have thought of that either, in all honesty. That's amazing. Oh shit! What was I going to say? Okay. Oh yeah, going into the main event matchup here. Great chemistry by all 6 of these competitors. There was not a single moment where it was dull or answer anything like that. We see destroyers, we see the Black Arrow, we see super kicks, we see everything that you could possibly say. Oh gosh, I can't give this matchup due justice. It's great. Second best matchup of the night, in all honesty, though. We see Kenny Omega hitting the one-wing angel on Phoenix for the victory, and the elite are victorious. In the end, Cody's out. He's celebrating with them. They invite Hangman Page into the ring, and he's just like, you know what? I'm good. You guys just celebrate. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm good. And that's how we end the show. Like I said, AEW was a really good show. Very few misses in this entire deal. There was very few botches. It was a really well set up show. You also had Taz back on commentary, which was great. You had some comedy, you had some action, you had some really good wrestling here. There's a reason why it was definitely a bit better than than NXT, but to be fair, NXT had a bit of a different format going on for that. But actually, we'll kind of go into that right now. Basically, they did their year-end awards, in which they announced, male competitor, female competitor, stuff like that. So just going to do like a quick deal here, so that way we can kind of move from there. Match of the year for them was Adam Cole, Bebe, versus Johnny Gargano in the 2 out of 3 Falls matchup for the vacant NXT title at NXT TakeOver New York. In all honesty, I cannot disagree with that, because it was a great matchup, and thankfully I was there for that, to witness it and to basically be just super happy, and also to record Will just saying, I'm tired. Just, and to be honest, he's always tired, though. That's the problem. I've really noticed that.
Sorry about that. that was Jesse Davin. Of course.
Good night, everyone. Let's see what we got here. Takeover of the Year was War Games. We had the Rivalry of the Year, which was Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, baby. Breakout Star of the Year, Keith Lee. Oh, God, he deserves it. Future Star of NXT, Dakota Kai, which, in all honesty, I am very interested. I heard she had a really good promo when she delivered that, so, yeah, I'm kind of... I want to see what that promo is all about. Tag Team of the Year was the Undisputed Era. Honestly, can't really deny that. Overall Competitor of the Year, Adam Cole, baby, because why not? Female Competitor of the Year, Shayna Baszler, well-deserved. Rhea Ripley was definitely one of those women that just captivated the year, but Shayna carried the women's division all this year. She did a fantastic job. It was a great moment when she got dethroned a couple weeks ago. And then we had Male Competitor of the Year, no surprise, Adam Cole, baby. So, yeah, that's kind of the NXT show. Nothing really else crazy there. I'm getting the finger from Mr. Fretz for a hold of the phone.
Sorry. The tag teams for the Dusty Rhodes Classic were also announced.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So we have Imperium, the Forgotten Sons, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster, a.k.a. South Wales Subculture, the Undisputed Era, Gallus, the Grizzled Young Veterans, my pick to win, and Kushida with a mystery partner. And I'm just going to spitball. This is just taking J.C. Bones' fantasy book, and I'm going to say that it's going to be someone who's not on the roster right now, although it probably is going to be.
Shane Strickland. Please be Shane Strickland.
Oh, no. Imagine, if you will, a reunion of the Time Splitters. Kushida and Alex Shelley.
Ooh, you tease. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
But I think it's going to be...
unlikely, but awesome.
It won't be him. I think it'll be someone like... Who's on there right now? I don't want to say Dijakovic, but although Kushida and Dijak sounds like an intriguing tag team...
give me Shane Strickland. Give me Kill Shot, baby.
Give me Kill Shot or Swerve.
Robbie E. Give me Robbie E.
Oh, yeah, he's there, too. Austin Theory.
Oh, that's right. Because, didn't he debut it? Yeah, no, he debuted against Roderick Strong. That's right.
Had a damn good match, and all the Kings of the Rings, our fellow Evolve fans, were just marking the heck out. And I'm looking at him like, this guy's damn good. Austin Theory is, and I'm waiting for the day. I can't wait for the day that NXT signs Josh Briggs.
That's this would be good. It would be a good year, but also have to remember that with all the people that they bring into the pool, some people have to get out. That's the thing.
Yeah, some contracts are going to come up. Like I think we might see with Breezango. Well, I think Fandango's injured again. Like he just had Tommy John surgery on his elbow.
Oh,
so
really?
He's going to be his pitching days are over, and he might be out for a bit. So I think this was mostly an enhancement team, but I would like to see a little bit more out of Everrise. They were Matt Martel. I think this guy's related to Rick Martel, and there's these two. There are two guys out of Quebec. So my Canada bias is showing there, despite the fact Quebec doesn't. Like the rest of Canada.
It is what it is. Honestly, I remember seeing that. I actually did forget about the Dusty Classic brackets getting brought into that. Oh, geez, that's gonna be crazy. Honestly, I think that's gonna be one of those things that I'm just gonna enjoy it. I don't even care. I think everybody has a right to win when it comes down to this, except for Forgotten Sons. Those guys, meh.
Didn't they win last year?
Thank God, no.
Or was it Red Dragon?
No, it was Ricochet and Aleister Black.
Right.
Because that's how they got the tag team title match against Viking Raiders.
Yes.
But even though it's the War Raiders, damn it. Stop making me settle. They're War Raiders.
War Machine. The War Machine.
The War Machine. There we go. All right. So, guys, we're going to take a bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to have a bit of a interesting deal because it's WrestleKingdom this weekend, and it wouldn't be fair for us to not do a prediction show for that. And then we will also be coming back with the review for New Year's Revolution 06, which is honestly one of the better cards that I have seen. But we'll get more into that in just a bit, you guys. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is King Ricky Rose, your co-general manager of Wrestle Addict Radio and your host of Kings of the Rings podcast. And if you enjoy what you listen to each and every week here on Wrestle Addict Radio, we invite you to enjoy even more content from us on our exclusive Patreon page, where for just $5 a month, that's right, $5 a month, you get bonus content and commentary from each and every show here on Wrestle Addict Radio. That means bonus content from the Kings of the Rings podcast, from Not Your Mama's Soap Opera, from 4-4 WrestleCast, from the Gipta podcast, and from the Game Changer WrestleCast. So for $5 a month, go to patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, sign up. You get exclusive content, exclusive access to us pretty much 24/7, and exclusive shows that can only be found and are exclusive to Patreon. So again, folks, patreon.com/Wrestle Addict Radio, $5 a month, all the content that you could ever want in wrestling. Enjoy.
Hey everyone, it's the Princess of Pro Wrestling, SoCal Mal. You are listening to the Game Changer podcast. Sending lots of love from California. Mwah.
This is my brutality! This is my brutality!
Welcome back to the Game Changer podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am NateFNGreat, being joined here by Mr. Fretz. One thing I definitely did want to touch base on a little bit was the fact that King Ricky talked about this past week, that we have hit a bit of a loss for Wrestle Addict Radio. We did lose the Fourth Wall WrestleCast, Gifted podcast. Definitely listen to the last episode that Mance did. It was just it gets you right here. It gets you right here, as well as Not Your Mama Soap Opera. But one thing that King Ricky did hit on the fact that we're very proud to say is that the Wrestle Addict Radio Network is not going down that easily. We are continuing to be a part of the wrestling community, and we are going to continue to do this. We may be bringing on some more people, still in the works right now, but from what it sounds like, from what King Ricky had to say, it seems like we may have some new people coming aboard and being a part of the family. But you'll just have to wait and see. And I also do want to mention this, that I will indeed be doing some Patreon exclusive content for you lovely fans of the Wrestle Addict Radio deal. And I can tell you this right now, is that it is a series that I did a while back. It's time for me to bring it back as a monthly feature, as how I would write it, because I'm an effing genius, no ding required. So that is coming back for the Patreon exclusive Wrestle Addict deal, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And by all means, I'll even put up some deals where I will ask you guys, what would you like to see me rewrite? I am in the process of working on a rewriting deal that I will hopefully have done by at least the middle of the month. I'm hoping maybe January 15th, 16th being the release date for that. And I'm hoping to keep that going throughout for the rest of the year. So definitely check that out. It's going to be awesome. I know, Fretz, you do the 20 bell salute for that, and you mentioned that you will be doing Royal Rumble 2000, to which you continue to basically say that it is so bad, and every single time you keep saying it, I'm literally thinking to myself, you're comparing it to like it's waterboarding or something. Like, I need to watch this show. So
whoa! The show is amazing.
Oh, wait,
there is one bit. And we are going to get to this particular person, this particular elderly lady who is no longer with us, who is probably my favorite all-time women's wrestler. But that part, Miss Rumble, dude. Miss Rumble.
okay. That now it makes more sense, because I looked at the card itself and I'm just like, dude, how can you hate this card? This is actually this is a really good card. But
it's Cactus fucking Jack.
Yes, no, you. I realize now I remember now what you were saying before. So, so definitely, if you want to hear more of Fretz's rage, you're going to have to go to our Patreon deal, which is only going to be $5 whole just to see this content. And honestly, guys, I've actually heard that we are going to be having some more content put up in there, so definitely don't want to miss out on that. So. Now we got the formalities and stuff like that out of the way. Mr. Fretz, I know that you've been kind of eager to talk about this deal. So all means, I'm going to give the floor to you, because you have a little more insight about this than I do. WrestleKingdom is taking place this past weekend, and by the time that this is aired, day one will have at least been done. So honestly, it's going to be very interesting to see how your predictions match day ones and how they're going to be going into day two. So, by all means, Mr. Fretz, like I said, the floor is yours. Talk to the people about WrestleKingdom, the matches, and what are your kind of, my friend Moose calls them stone cold picks for this big extravaganza.
Well, Conrad, yeah, that whiskey's going down smoothly now. Thanks, Hangman Page, for the idea. So, I don't catch New Japan as often as I really want to. I leave that up to our resident indie Dusty Dave, our indie king Dusty Dave. Shout out to Dave. Happy New Year to you, buddy. I love you. I miss hearing from you. So let's hopefully catch a wrestling show sometime, sir. So what we have here is a bunch of great matches taking place across 2 nights on January the 4th and 5th. So by the time you hear this, you will probably have already watched all of WrestleKingdom, except that I'm not waking up at 2 in the morning on Saturday to watch it after working until 10 p.m. Friday night and having to work at 11 a.m. the next Saturday morning. So my day off Monday will be my WrestleKingdom viewing day, and I don't care if I see any spoilers. And I'm not familiar with many of these people here, but I just wanted to mention WrestleKingdom just because it doesn't get the amount of love that it should, but although in the past few years it definitely has gained a lot more mainstream wrestling exposure, especially with matches in the past like Nakamura versus Styles and Omega versus Okada and Okada versus Jericho, to name a few. So there is a dark match, which is a Stardom special. Stardom, I believe, is a Japanese women's promotion. Dusty Dave, please correct me and hit me up on that. But I'm not talking about any of the dark matches here. But I'm just going to go over the regular card. So we have Great Bash Heel, which is Honama and Togi Magape versus all these names I'm going to butcher. Yua Unamura, Yoda Tsui, and Toa Henare. And there's it's an 8-man tag match first. Although all those people against Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, and Carl Fredericks. I expect the Great Bash Heel to come out on top of this one. We have Yuji Nagata and Manabu Naganishi. I should have actually pronounced these to myself in front of a mirror for a bunch. I should have taken JR's advice here. So we have Hiroshi Tenzan and Satoshi Kojima. Well, Tenzan's still going. Versus, Yuji Nagata and Manabu Nakanishi. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that Tenzan's going to get the pin here. And next here we have an 8-man tag match in which will be one of Jushin Thunder Liger's final matches. And Jushin Thunder Liger, folks, is someone that you should absolutely get familiar with if you're not already. You know, Jushin, he's had a long, storied career in Japan. He's traveled over to the States. He actually had an NXT match with Tyler Breeze a few years ago in Brooklyn, which was amazing. He had some matches on Nitro against, he had Nitro matches with, Brian Pillman. Oh, my goodness. Liger is one of the first people I remember seeing do the Shooting Star Press, and I think he made his debut the year I was born, 1984. That's a career. So we have this match that involves a lot of Liger's former foes and friends, in which he is tagging with Tatsumi Fujinami, the great Sasuke, and if you watch In Your House Canadian Stampede, you'll know that he wrestled Taka Michinoku in a barn burner. And Tiger Mask with El Samurai versus Nakoi Sano, Shinjiro Otani, pulling double duty, Tokigawa, and Taguchi with Kobayashi. So I think this first match, Jushin is going to pin somebody. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say he's going to pin Shinjiro Otani. And then in his next match, the next night, he'll go out on his back like all legends should in their retirement matches. Next, we have the Los Ignobles de Japan, which is Evil Sanada and Shingo Tagaki and Bushi versus Suzuki Gun of Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and El Desperado. Just because I want Zack Sabre Jr. to win this match, I'm going to pick him. No, we have Chaos. There we go. Now it's going down. With Hiroki Goto, Ishii, and Toru Yano. And Yoshihashi going up against the Bullet Club of Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, the newest member, Kenta, who was he? Hideo Itami, am I right? Yes. And Takahashi. I think Chaos is going to pull off a win here. Bullet Club is nowhere near the iteration that it used to be. I think the last time in my mind, I don't want to say they're irrelevant, but the last time I think I really paid attention to them was when this fella here on my shirt, Marty Scurll, was involved with them. I still remember that vignette when Adam Cole, baby, got fired, and you had Kenny Omega on the Titantron. You are fired. Lights go out. Who comes out but Marty Scurll in the mask with the umbrella? Oh. Next here we have the Gorillas of Destiny, Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, defending the IWGP Tag Team Championship against Thin Juice. the team of Juice Robinson and Dave Finlay Jr., the son of Fit Finlay. Ooh, you know what? The GOD have had a good long run with the tag titles. I think that Finn Juice could pull off an upset win here and run with the titles. And, you're going to love this one, Nate. This next match is a Texas death match for the United States title. Lance Archer against our boy, John Moxley. Now, this match can only be won by a 10-count knockout or by submission. Well, I don't know what kind of relationship that All Elite Wrestling is going to have with New Japan going forward, but if they're letting him on their show, Moxley, he is a former United States champion himself. He had to, vacate the title that he won from Juice Robinson at, it was either Dominion or the Best of the Super Juniors in the summertime. He had to relinquish it because of his commitments with AEW. Now maybe there was some kind of working relationship in which I would love to see. Imagine you got like Okada versus... No, wait, these ones already happened. Let's wait and see. Okada... You know what? Screw it. Okada Omega again at All In or something. Let's go. I think that this match... I'm just going to swing down and see if Moxley's doing the... Okay. Yeah. This person will face Juice Robinson the next night, so I'm going to say Moxley gets the title here. He has a run with this title. Next up, the Junior Heavyweight Championship, Ospreay versus Takahashi. Will Ospreay won this match in a sick match at the Best of the Super Juniors. I forget who was it up against. Once again, Dusty Dave, please hit us up and let me know. But Takahashi, I understand this is his comeback match. So I think that Takahashi's going to take the title here from Ospreay. Next up, the Intercontinental title with Naito versus Switchblade Jay White. Naito, I think, is going to get this one here. It'll take a couple of Destinos, but he's gonna win this match. Next off here, this match, I would have a different result if WrestleKingdom did not have a 2-night card. I was thinking about this, and then when I watched Cultaholics, my God, review of this card, Sam Driver had a really good point about this, and I'm actually going to be piggybacking off of his result. This is Okada versus Ibushi for the heavyweight title. Okada's retaining, and I'm going to let you know why here in a minute. The next night, this one's here, another dark match. This is a gauntlet match for the 6-man tag team championship, and I'm not going to predict that one. It's a dark match, and here it is, the tag team retirement match. My God, pardon me again. Of Liger, we have Jushin Thunder Liger and Nakobe Sano going up against Ryu Lee and Takahashi. Now, this is where Liger's going to go out on his back and have a bow after this match. Takahashi's going to pin. I think he'll pin Liger. Liger will have the big streamers and roses and big heartfelt goodbye here. And you know what? Maybe he works at the New Japan Dojo after this. Now we have the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship with the Bullet Club's Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo defending their titles against Roppongi 3K's Sho and Yo. And you know what? Just for shits, I'm gonna pick Sho and Yo to be the new champs here. British Heavyweight Championship. Here's gonna be a good one. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata. Now, Sonata, I think, is going to retain here, just because, he's British himself, and I figured I'm going to go with him for this one. TV and the United States Championship, which is the winner of Archer and Moxley going up against Juice. Now, I picked Moxley to win the first match, and I did pick Juice to win the tag titles here. I'm going to go out on a limb. Juice is going to walk out a double champion and get, like, since he's been in Japan, he's gotten the run and the recognition that he deserved when he was in NXT. You forgot, this man had his debut match against Kevin Owens, but he got the absolute piss knocked out of him by KO, and I think didn't he slap KO and break his nose, or did KO bust Juice open? I can't remember. One of the early NXTs.
Oh yeah. Was that what was it like? Wait, was that maybe it was the first takeover or something like that? I don't remember.
Yeah. It was KO's debut. He was when Juice was CJ Parker. Yeah, CJ Parker broke his nose in the match, but then just kept going.
That's right. I do remember that now. I also remember Kevin Owens being a bastard at the end of the night by attacking Sami Zayn, the new NXT champion.
So good. Now, this is an interesting one because I'm gonna have to go back up to my car. I should have wrote all this down. But the Okada Ibushi loser versus the Jay White Naito loser. Now, this is the singles match. So
I think it's Ibushi versus Naito, if I'm not mistaken. From what you said? Oh, versus White. Okay.
Yeah. So we have Ibushi and Jay White here. Now, this is where I think Ibushi would have his moment, because initially, if WrestleKingdom was one night and Ibushi had his title match, I would have picked Ibushi to finally have his moment. But I think that's either going to be at Dominion, or they might wait it out until WrestleKingdom 15. Either way, Ibushi is going to have his moment. He's going to be the champion. I'm guaranteeing that. I guarantee. Now, Hiroshi Tanahashi against the Painmaker, Chris Jericho. My goodness, this match is going to be a barn burner. And if Tanahashi wins, he receives a title match against Chris Jericho at a later date. Let's say let's hypothetically book that there's going to be a AEW pay-per-view event somewhere within 3 weeks before or after WrestleMania. However, that would make my prediction of Jon Moxley being the next AEW champion null and void, unless it's going to be on Dynamite in the next couple of weeks, which I would also be completely fine with. Tanahashi's winning this, and he's going to get a shot at Jericho. And now this is a double dash match, title for title, Hogan and Warrior, WrestleMania 6. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion going up against the Intercontinental Champion. So that is where I had to, and it's not letting me go up. So I had Okada against Naito. Tetsuya Naito is walking out a double champion. And that's, given my limited understanding of New Japan, I want to be more familiar with New Japan, but there's so much wrestling, and having a full-time job, there are priorities in place here. But I plan on watching this on my day off next week, which is Monday. So if the streams are available Monday morning, that's my whole day. Is both Wrestle Kingdoms. Those are my somewhat limited understanding predictions. Dusty Dave, you have my permission to come after me. It's going to be a damn good show, in which we'll need a palate cleanser after that fucking wedding on Monday, which we're not talking about. Please, God.
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about Lars Sullivan's pornographic background. We talk about more of the finer things in wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that, I'm going to give my co-host a bit of a break right now. We come back, we're going to go through one of the first pay-per-views, kind of its kind. It only has 3 installments, but it's definitely one of those things where, honestly, this second one was pretty damn good. So we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll talk about New Year's Revolution from '06. Stay tuned, guys. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm NateFNGreat. You know what's really fun, you guys, is just spending some time creating wrestling moments, whether it's being in the crowd, cutting promos, or just really kind of beating each other up with a chair or a trash can. Well, let's just say that there's a safer way to doing that without using an actual chair or a trash can. Go over to Great Minds Revolution Incorporated. My buddy Kurt has actually created a very safe and fun way to be a wrestling fan without the necessary lawsuits of basically beating each other up with real stuff. He has an inflatable chair that is really fun to just whack around, and it could also double as a little floaty for a pool. He also has the inflatable trash can, which, you guys, is really awesome because let's say maybe you don't want to use it for wrestling matches. You could use it at your barbecue, your next big tailgate party, whatever you could think of. Great Minds Revolution, Inc. They do a great job on making wrestling fun again. Proud friends of the Game Changer podcast.
This is your pool party captain, Randy Fitzsimmons, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast. Pew pew!
Woo, woo, woo. You know it.
You know, honestly enough, that was actually going to be like the starting theme song for this episode. But then I thought, you know what? I'm feeling glorious, so Bobby Roode took the win. So, welcome back, guys. I'm Nate. This is Fretz. We're going in to do another classic pay-per-view review. Not copyrighted by Wrestling with Regrets, Brian Zane. He has his own thing, and it's pretty awesome. We just like to pick ones willy-nilly because we can. So, this is New Year's Revolution in 2006 that took place on January 8th, 2006 in the Pepsi Arena in Albany, New York. It was a Raw-branded deal, which the taglines are Elimination Chamber, 10 tons of steel, 2 miles of chain, 1 man left standing. Okay, that's actually really cool. And with the attendance of 11,000 people, and honestly, it was a pretty good show. But before we get into that, it's time to go where? Go back in time to the Wayback Machine. Mr. Fretz, what the hell happened during this time? And am I going to regret asking this question?
Maybe. Well, Mr. Fretz was working in a binder factory, yes. I made binders and other things out of plastic like wallets and credit card holders and hockey card albums and index tabs and all those exciting things. What we had in movies, Nanny McPhee,
oh boy,
Hoodwinked, Hostel, and Grandma's Boy.
Oh, well, at least there was one saving grace. Thank Christ.
Those are all terrible. Oh, speaking of terrible, here's the music. Don't Forget About Us by Mariah Carey. Glip Grills by Nelly. And Check On It by Beyonce.
Oh man. That
sucks.
That just does not sound doesn't sound very good at all. No, you're right. My mind is. I think my mind's telling my eyes to start go blind. That's just bad.
In video games, one notable release, and it's actually good. It's the Mega Man X collection for the GameCube and the PS2.
Oh, sweet. I'm okay with that. And also, I think that it was during this year that they were continuing that trend of SmackDown vs. Raw games. So SmackDown vs. Raw 07 took place during this year.
That was damn good.
You know, actually, it was pretty good. I remember 06 being pretty decent. 07 definitely was one where you started seeing a little bit more of a progression with the deal. Man, I'm trying to think of, like, out of those ones, which one was, like, the best one. That's going to be tough. Well, that'll be for another podcast.
Well, 07 came out. It was notable for coming out on the Wii. It was notable for, I think it was 07 or 08 that had the first iteration of the ECW roster. 07, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Will, but is one of Will Terrashock's favorite wrestling video games of all time.
Yeah, that's possible. But also, this is a guy who has trash talked Bailey, and let me just say this right now, that if he tries to trash talk me again, like he almost tried to do in the last episode, I got a good way to F with him. I'm just gonna say that right now. I'll tell you off air, because it's funny. But let's get to talking about the event itself. In all honesty, I went back to it, and there were some matches where they didn't really hold up that well. But then there were some matches where it was like, okay, this is actually pretty good. We kicked off the show with a Intercontinental Championship matchup as the Rated R Superstar and your Money in the Bank winner, Edge, challenged the Intercontinental Champion, Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I know. So many people are probably thinking, like, what? When was Ric Flair Intercontinental Champion? Oh, how we forget the fact that he had that weird feud with Carlito, where he was on Carlito's Cabana, he got spat in his face, the apple, and then he won the title at Unforgiven, yes. Then they had the whole deal with him and Triple H, and he actually retained the Intercontinental title at Taboo Tuesday against Triple H, which I was like, huh, well, that just happened. And then they had that brutal last man standing match at Survivor Series. Oh, God. That was crazy. Edge, building up to this, he had a pretty interesting year. He won the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 21, he had that Gold Rush tournament victory in which he and Lita revealed their relationship, and then they had to deal with Matt Hardy. But for a while, Edge was kind of on the up and up because he was battling with a bit of an injury, so he was not exactly featured as much in the previous couple months. So this was one of the first few matches I think I remember seeing him coming back from his injury. But the build-up to this was kind of interesting because one of the things that they did was they had a deal where they had a picture of Ric Flair on the Titantron. Edge is doing the cutting edge. He's just talking to quote-unquote Flair, saying, like, just admit it that you are not better than me, Ric Flair. He's like, I admit it. Nature Boy is not better than you. Woo! Just one of those things where it's so cringeworthy, but it's so funny at the same time. Oh, but then the icing on this cake is when they revealed that Ric Flair got pulled over for a road rage incident. How did they do this? Why, by having Edge dress up like Ric Flair and doing a little skits of this road rage deal where he's just driving there. He's like, oh, the Nature Boy is driving down. Oh, you don't cut off the Nature Boy? He goes out of the car. He grabs the guy who, ironically enough, is wearing a Rated R Superstar t-shirt. Oh, Edge, you crazy SOB. He just chops the guy, gives him a figure four on the freaking road. And all I'm thinking to myself as a kid, like, what is this? But as an adult, I'm on the ground laughing, thinking, oh my God, this is some of the best stuff that Edge has ever done. I love you. Just hear the continual moves. But the match itself was decent, to say the least. We see Edge kind of take a little bit of an advantage at the start. We see then Flair kind of get his win back. He's working on the knee. He does these things like suggestively to Lita. Like there's a point where Lita's trying to like smack her or something like that. He grabs both of her arms and he's doing like just doing the little hip deal where he's like, oh yeah, I want you, Lita. And then Edge kind of gets thrown out of the ring. Flair throws Lita into the ring. She gets locked in the figure four. One of the few times we see men-on-woman violence, but at the same time, it's Ric Flair. You know something? This was kind of one of those things where it's like, you know what? I accept this. Because Lita was kind of like the biggest bitch in that era. And it was one of those things where it was like, hey, she was willing to get some comeuppance. So, spot on her for that. But Edge decides, you know what? I don't need this. Bunk hits Flair in the head with the briefcase, causing a disqualification. He just continues to beat down on Ric Flair. Honestly, like I said, this matchup was a decent opener. It wasn't anything like too spectacular, but it wasn't one of those things where it felt like it was a letdown. So, you know, it's one of those things where, like I said, it's there. I call Ric Flair a dirty man in my notes, to which I'm thinking, okay, yep, he was being very dirty and very naughty in this matchup. But it is what it is. Did you have anything to add on or thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I thought this was enjoyable. He had was Ric Flair on his retirement tour, or was he retired 2 years after this? Was it 08 or 07?
Yeah, it would have been 2 years later because, it would have been because during this year it would have been WrestleMania 22 and 24 is 2 years later. So yeah. Yeah,
he at 22, I think he had a dark match against Carlito for the Intercontinental title.
No, at this year's at the 22 WrestleMania.
Yeah.
No, he lost that title to, you know what? I guess this goes into a little bit of spoilers to give you a little bit. Flair would not hold on to the Intercontinental title for that much longer, as he would lose it to a resurfacing Shelton Benjamin, who we will talk about a little bit later on.
Right.
And guys, he would then go on to compete at WrestleMania in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, obviously, a lot of people kind of know what's going to happen here with Edge. He does get a bit of a huge matchup at WrestleMania, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the final matchup here. But let's go into probably one of the most interesting promos that Kurt Angle has ever had. I know you have some choice words for this. So Todd Grisham is in the back. He's basically he talks to Kurt Angle. He's like, how are you feeling about the matchup? And Kurt Angle just decides, you know what? I'm going to start saying some things like during that time. Unfortunately, we were at war overseas, and he was just saying, I hope the United States, loses the war. And I think that the greatest country in the world is France. And to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of the black people. And he literally puts it in that kind of quotation. So, Ricky, please don't be offended. This is Kurt Angle's words, not mine. And then he tops it up with this, which I know you had a bit of an interesting idea for this, where he's just like, if I could go back in time and I could make anybody tap out, it would have to be Jesus. And Daivari's just like, who do you ever beat? To which I'm like, oh boy, nuclear heat on my end, my friend. To which Kurt Angle says, the point is, I could say anything to these idiots and they will still cheer for me. In which, at that time, he was right. He could literally say, I will kill your kids. And people would probably still cheer for him. And basically, he talks about how he's going to win the Chamber. He even lists off that he's better than Cena. He beat Kane and HBK at WrestleMania. And he says that Carlito and Masters, they're not even in my league. And closes it with probably one of the best lines, where he says, now I won my first WWE Championship right here in Albany. And tonight, I'm going to do it again. Yeah! And this is before he became the wrestling machine. Oh, trust me, we're going to get to Kurt Angle history after this in just a bit. But Mr. Fretz, do I dare ask your thoughts on this promo?
Before I start preaching my ass off for this promo, I had to mention that Ric Flair actually landed a top rope maneuver in his match with Edge.
Oh, shit.
Instead of getting thrown off there like every other time, he landed a top rope chop. And, yeah, Flair here, and Flair was great. So, who else forgot that Daivari was aligned with Kurt Angle? Because I did. I thought Daivari disappeared for a while after Muhammad Hassan left, but apparently he was Kurt Angle's manager. So, okay, Kurt, you said you're going to make Jesus tap. Really, bro? Really? Do you not know that Jesus is God in the flesh? Do you know the story of Jacob in the Bible, Nate?
Is it? I know the story of. Well, actually, I know a couple Jacobs in there, but I'm kind of interested in knowing where you're going with this.
So, Jacob, he decided to kind of have a bit of a wrestling match with God. And,
that story. Yeah, now I remember.
And God kind of, took his leg out of his leg like Owen Hart. Don't think you can make Jesus tap, bro. Jesus is God. So, Kurt, maybe be a bit more careful with your words of who you think you're going to make tap out. Because Reverend Fretz here was just about to go theological on your ass. And because God is rich in mercy, so am I. Unless I had another beer beside me and I opened it up and started going in that, I would have been worse. Kurt? Nah. But the whole... When he was like, I can say what I want, and did the whole, I hope U.S. loses the war. No offense, America, I kind of laughed. And said France is the best. Scott Steiner jumped out of a time warp from his promo with La Resistance in 2003 and left out of that time warp and locked Kurt Angle in the Steiner recliner as if he was reaching from... You ever play Portal, the video game Portal?
Yes.
He was reaching from one portal to the other to lock Kurt in the Steiner recliner. And that is my theological rant for the day, because I'm a former pastoral intern, and since our resident reverend isn't on the network, Mance, if you're hearing this, brother, I love you. I'm surprised if you made it this far into my theological rant. But yes. Enough about that. Let's talk about Trish and Mickey.
Yes, why don't we? And honestly, Mr. Fretz, I kind of like hearing your words, so I'm going to let you take over for this matchup because, honestly, I'm just curious.
Okay, so, Nate, you've seen Wayne's World, right?
Of course.
Of course. One of the greatest movies of the 90s. There is a term here that I'm using for Mickey James that is derived from I believe it might have been in the first one with Wayne's stalker psycho ex-girlfriend. And do you remember the term that Garth Elgar used for this particular woman?
Been so long since
it's three words. Psycho Hose Beast. That is Mickey James in this match. She is the ultimate stalker fangirl, which would get her all of the blocks on Twitter these days. I liked the whole promo that they did. They went back in time to her debut, and she was just what we would be if we met our favorite celebrities or wrestlers, just being kind of excitable and jumping up and down, like, oh my god, you're Trish Stratus. My name's Mickey, blah, blah. Mickey, like, why does this name sound familiar? Oh, excuse me, only because I've sent you all these letters over the past few years, and now I'm a wrestler. Yay! So now this is going to sound weird, but bear with me. This is not intended to sound odd, but if this is how they debut Izzy as a stalker, not to this extent, please be advised, she's a young lady, and I'm not going far into this. So, but if they booked that as kind of just a fangirl, not a psycho, but my God, they went full hog on this Mickey James character. Everything from her trying to steal Trish's moveset by pressing A and B and No Mercy, by using the Mickey faction, for doing this extended, I don't want to, what was it when she kind of had her crotch in Trish's face or something? Or
the Mickey Kirana.
The Mickey, yeah. It had a little bit more, it had a little bit of, what's that word that The Rock used to say? Pie. if you will. My God, I should not have had that whiskey. We had I wrote it down here. Pi Carana. Nice. And the camera operators being all up Mickey's butt with the gratuitous thong shots. Just everything about this match was kind of a car crash. Now, Mickie James could go, and I'm loving that this feud, extended towards WrestleMania. Like, these two just had one hell of a feud, and just Mickie James's character, she could just turn it on and off like that, like it was a switch. She was too good at it. Great match, too.
I was going to say, during WrestleMania month, can we review WrestleMania 22 and go into deep length of that Mickie and Trish matchup and how anybody who is hypersensitive would tear that match apart?
To the extent that you can't find that spot that Mickie James does. You know what I mean, guys.
Yes, I do.
You know what I mean. That it was... Vince McMahon was so furious because he had to edit that off of the future DVD release. So if you're like me and you watched WrestleMania 22 live, and sadly I don't have a VHS rip of it anywhere anymore. I mean, a VHS of it anymore. I probably have a download of it because you can't find that spot. That Donald Trump spot on the network, it's not there. You have to go to Dailymotion and YouTube to find it. And I was thinking we review that around the time that we were talking about Edge.
Right.
So I've had that in my mind for a while, Nate. So you're damn right we're going to review WrestleMania 22.
Awesome. So I do apologize for cutting you off. Yeah, you mentioned the match itself was pretty good. Honestly, I thought it was still pretty good. I think it was kind of, maybe it was not like their better match, but at the same time, it was just kind of Mickie James, she was getting her feet in the pool. She was just getting that bit of that exposure. She's facing up a veteran like Trish Stratus, who is reaching a full year as women's champion, which, in all honesty, you have to remember that a few of those, a couple of those months, she was kind of out of the picture. I don't know if she was dealing with an injury or something like that, but she had some time off from like Backlash to Unforgiven the previous year. Like we mentioned before, it was a great matchup and a lot of great moments during this matchup that definitely started putting the bricks for this rivalry to continue to just blossom and blossom and blossom into something absolutely wonderful. One thing I definitely did notice in the matchup was that Trish tried to use a bit of the ropes during a pinning predicament, where Mickie kind of was like, what? And it's kind of one of those things where, Trish knows that this woman is crazy, and she does not want to lose her title to that crazily. Mickie, I think, did a Stratusfaction to Trish Stratus, to which it's like, well, okay, that's new. She goes for like the Mick kick, but then we see a nice chick kick by Trish Stratus. Gets the pin, and again, camera spot perfect for what which literally looks like a thong spot, for Trish Stratus to pin Mickie. Oh, beautiful pinning predicament, and pin 1, 2, 3. Trish retains, continues her historic run. She doesn't make it quite to Fabulous Moolah records, but she is still the longest reigning women's champion in this era right now, because there's nobody that's held that title as long as she has.
Absolutely. This was a great match, and I think this whole match is going to get me swiftly blocked by Izzy. So congratulations to me there. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this. This is a great feud, and the stalker angle. I think today the stalker angle would work, although obviously far less sexualized. So yeah, I would like to see something like this like today.
Yeah.
Just imagine any young fan. Like I think in about 10 years. I would like to see like all these fans that have become memes over the past few years. Izzy comes to mind. Like Izzy and Bailey, I think if all the stars align, that's a WrestleMania feud right there, or at least it's a takeover thing. Like teacher and mentor. Bayley goes back to NXT, and then their reactions come back. And I also am thinking of Lacey Evans has a kid now, and she's got the acting down pat. That kid's good. So okay, mixed tag team match. I'm going way off topic here, but it's that you had daughter and daughter, or kind of daughter and daughter, but Lacey and girl versus Bayley and Izzy, and that's when you had the Izzy heel turn.
I would actually pay to see that matchup. I would pay to see that matchup. The story kind of writes itself, but Vince McMahon will make it something really stupid, like, oh well, the daughters are gonna do this, and it's like, no, Vince, go to your corner. But I need you, no, go to your corner.
Dude, by the time Izzy makes it to the Fed, Vince will be dead.
That's true. No, he'll still be on his deathbed, going like, Triple H, I still don't understand Bo Dallas's gimmick.
Oh, God. No, Vince McMahon is going to be Triple H Jacob Marley.
Oh my God, that's even more terrifying.
You'll be visited by 3 ghosts that night, and they're all Vince.
Oh jeez.
The ghost of Christmas Past, and it's 80s Vince, like, oh, what a maneuver! Oh my God!
Oh
and
my
then
God.
The ghost of Christmas Present is like, attitude era Vince, you're fired. The ghost of Christmas Future is freaking I'm a genius Vince. Wow! Oh my.
That's good shit. No. It's him as a hooded person, and all the words he just says is good shit.
It's me, us.
Oh my God, he ends it with that. WWE Christmas Carol, book it. No, I will. You know what? This is going to sound crazy.
WWE Christmas special.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually write this, and I'm going to make it a reality. Come Christmas 2020, I'm gonna make that for an exclusive Patreon deal. That's gonna happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Camp WWE Christmas special. There it is.
There we go. Now the circle's complete. Anyway, getting back to this. So after this matchup takes place, we get to a backstage segment with Maria. No, not the Maria now who's demasculating her husband, but the Maria who is bright and perky and all happy-go-lucky, talking about the bra and panties gauntlet matchup, which in all honesty, it was a better match than I thought it was. We see her basically interviewing herself until Gregory Helms, he comes in, and he basically says, are you just that brain dead? But you know something? You don't have to worry about Jerry Lawler coming out and doing that creepy old puppies deal. That I thought was hilarious. Basically, he talks about him beating Jerry Lawler's ass in their matchup. We're getting to that, don't worry. But then we get into probably Fretz's favorite thing. We got Shelton Benjamin and Shelton Benjamin's mama coming to this fucking thing. And they're basically just going through the corridors. And Shelton Benjamin's mama's like, did you eat anything? And Shelton's like, yeah, I had like a nutrition bar earlier. He's like, you can't have that. No, you ain't do that. Where's the contestant? Where's the catering at? But he basically points where it is, and that kind of ends the segment. It is what it is. Then they did this deal where they did like a backstage, like, answer questions kind of deal. Something that they don't do anymore, which in all honesty, I'm guessing maybe they don't do it as much because it wasn't as successful, but in all honesty, nowadays, well, they got Twitter, so no, it wouldn't be successful. Never mind. Basically, yeah, they had like a site where they had fans asking questions for the wrestlers and stuff like that. So Lita's basically telling Edge just to answer a couple questions, and Edge is like, no, F that. I'm doing something else. He leaves, and Lita decides to answer the questions, and she's a lot more perky in this than I thought she would be. I was just kind of looking at this like, wow, she's kind of being nicer in this. She's actually like face Lita. Okay, this is... okay, whatever. Next matchup we have on here. We have Jerry the King Lawler versus Gregory Helms. So, this is kind of an interesting match build-up. So, Gregory Helms was the Hurricane near the end of 2005. But after a assault by Kurt Angle, he just decided, enough is enough. I'm tired of being, the goody-goody two-shoes. I'm tired of being that guy that, gets pushed around. He actually removes his mask and throws it down, much to the dismay of Rosie, his former tag team partner, which they actually had a match on Raw in which Gregory Helms won. So, basically, Gregory Helms, he was berating, he was just being trash-talking Jerry Lawler, and that's what caused this matchup to take place. This was Gregory Helms' first pay-per-view singles match, I think, ever? Because I can't think. I don't know if I mean, this is not including WCW, but I'm talking full on WWE deal. I don't know if he really had a one-on-one deal because I'm thinking to myself, he did a lot of tag matches when he was with the Alliance. He did a lot of the hardcore title stuff, but as far as one-on-one, I remember him doing pre-show stuff on Heat. But as far as actual pay-per-views, I don't think he ever did a singles matchup. He mentioned that it was the first singles matchup in 2006 for him, so we'll count that as whatever it is. So basically, this matchup is just Gregory Helms carrying Jerry Lawler in this. It was all work of Gregory Helms. I'm not gonna lie. There were so many moments where we see Gregory Helms, hitting moves. He's doing he did 3 or 4 suplexes on Jerry Lawler, to which is okay, yep. Gregory Helms is just carrying this matchup. There's nothing. I'm sorry, but if people are gonna say no, Jerry Lawler held his own, it's no, he didn't. Gregory Helms was kind of the carry deal, and this is kind of the funny ha 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 match because Jerry Lawler did the hurricane elbow thing where he's ha 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 ha, and then he threw Gregory Helms on and does what's up with that? It's just one of those ha ha funny matches. Gregory Helms actually beats down Jerry Lawler on the outside, and then he grabs his commentary headset. He just starts trash talking Jerry Lawler while he's on commentary. I thought that was great. I was there's no reason to hate Gregory Helms at this point. I would have been a huge fan of his back in the day. So we see Jerry Lawler mount a comeback, and then he would hit his patented fist drop to the face. 1, 2, 3. Jerry Lawler has won the matchup, and they made this deal Jerry Lawler, he's undefeated in 2006. Although for some reason I thought they said he was undefeated at New Year's Revolution, to which I was no, he's not. Last year he lost to Muhammad Hassan. Thank you very much. But no, he was undefeated in 2006. Okay, one of those BS deals. Got it. So yeah, this matchup was just a train wreck. But thankfully, it did not hurt the career of Gregory Helms, as only a couple weeks later, he would be entered into the Cruiserweight Open matchup that was featuring guys like Super Crazy Psychosis, Kid Cash, Paul London, Funaki, Jamie Noble. Oh man, jeez, this was a revamped Jamie Noble deal. Basically, they announced his contract was expiring, so now he's working on SmackDown. And in his first, big time matchup at the Royal Rumble, he won the Cruiserweight title. So he would hold on to it for a full year, at least. It was absolutely amazing. So yeah, despite having a rough start to his 2006, Gregory Helms would actually have a pretty prominent career going forward, starting at Royal Rumble. So, Fretz, anything to add on?
And who would Gregory Helms drop that Cruiserweight title to?
Ooh, Chavo.
False.
I'd like for you to check your facts, my good sir, because I know I'm right.
Oh, never mind.
Aha!
Oh,
Aha!
wait a minute. Or is it Chavo? Because I was going to make a reference to your good buddy Hornswoggle.
Oh yeah, nope. After Chavo, then it's Hornswoggle.
My bad.
That's okay.
So Maria, I completely forgot about her bubbly, ditzy, dumb blonde. Although she's not a blonde gimmick, total valley girl. And I'm just I don't like it. Mostly because I didn't like girls like that when I was younger. So I'm like, I'm gonna avoid you. I mean, you're hot, but you're just a little too bubbly and dumb. And oh my god, Pacha. Yeah, if you remember Pacha, you're as old as hell, like me here. Oh. Yeah, I have nothing to say about Lawler and Helms. I was not entertained by that match at all.
Okay, moving on. So we have Lita just about to leave the Q&A area, but then Trish Stratus, she comes in. We get a nice little face-off between the two of them. Fun fact, Lita was the one who lost the women's title to Trish Stratus about a year ago, so thanks, Lita, for that one long deal. We see Mickie James, kind of burst in. She's basically saying, like, oh, man, it's really awesome that we got to do it, blah, blah, blah. And she said, that her late great, I think, grandfather or something like that would have been so happy for them. And Trish made this comment where she's like, you do realize you lost the match, right? And Mickey's like, oh, well, yeah, well, I was still saying that it was an honor just to have this matchup, to where I'm just like, I love old school Mickie James. This is amazing. She literally just takes this negative and turns it into a positive. Just never change, Mickey. Never change. All right, and then from there we see Shelton Benjamin's mama back in catering. She's just thinking, hey, we're gonna, this catering's not work. She needs this, and then we get the world's largest love machine, Viscera. To which I'm literally jaw-dropping, eyes-burning situation where I'm like, oh God, I forgot that this was a thing. So Viscera is just making all these advances to Shelton Benjamin's mama.
Just love machine, Viscera.
I hate you. I hate you so much. God, I still have to recount this. Good God. So Viscera, like I said, he makes advances. Shelton Benjamin's mama's just like, hell no, you get your ass whooped. And basically it results in a match between Shelton Benjamin and Viscera. Later on, we're not going to get to that. All I have for my notes for this was Viscera and Mama. Dear God. Just literally that. Mr. Fretz, the next match is yours.
Viscera sliding right into Mama's DMs. Gotta give him props for that. Yeah, we have here Triple H versus the Big Slow, and just how bad Big Show looked at this point in time. I mean, it's depressing to look back at this, mostly because of when I met the Big Show, like in, was it 2018? Yeah, he was shredded. The guy's got like a 16-pack. 7-foot tall, giant 6-pack guy here. But at this point in time, he was not looking good. I wrote down here that he was wearing the comically large Bob Orton cast. And I should mention that Bob Orton is one of the announced guests for Niagara Falls Comic Con next year, of which I've bought my tickets.
Nice.
Along with Terry Runnels, the Mountie. There's another big. I think it's Terry Runnels, the Mountie. Oh, Holland Nash. Knock on wood, they actually show up this time, because the first time they didn't. George Takei, the guy that played Hellboy in the first movie.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, off topic here, and, this was an injury angle of the Big Show's, having a bad hand. So he couldn't hit the knockout punch. Oh, wait, Fretz, he didn't use the knockout punch for a finisher until 2009. So, my note here was null and void. This match wasn't very good. I mean, Big Show and Triple H, two good performers, but I don't think I've seen them two put on a match that would really captivate me. This turned into a schmoz with a ref bump and weapons and, a chair, and then, Big Show would punch the chair. And then you would see a sledgehammer, get involved here. And was this a double DQ, or did Triple H pin the Big Show after a sledgehammer shot? Because I did not write the finish down.
Triple H picked up the victory, but there were a couple of notes on here that I thought were either like entertaining or something that I just thought like, okay, that's funny. Triple H does this deal where he's mocking the Big Show. He's doing like the whole like, oh, and he just mocks the whole him having a broken hand deal where he's like, oh no. I literally busted a gut laughing at that. Big Show does this like forearm bash to Triple H, and he literally just falls like a sack of potatoes. I thought, oh shit, that was great. There was a point where the sledgehammer was just about to be used. Then Big Show stops him, and he does like this karate chop on the sledgehammer, which even to this day, I thought that held up pretty well. Where I'm like, oh my god, Big Show just chopped that thing like it was a toothpick. That's amazing. There's even like one point where Big Show looked like he was about to get hit with a chair. Big Show looks like he's kind of scared, but then you just see this like click in his face where he's like, wait a minute, I'm a giant. And he just goes, oh, just knocks over Triple H. I just remember that as a kid, like laughing, just hearing him scream like that. Big Show tries to go for the advantage. Triple H takes what's left of the sledgehammer. It's kind of like what happened with him and Sting at WrestleMania 31. Boop, right to the head, and then Triple H hits this weird version of the pedigree to pin the Big Show. Less said about this match, the better, like you kind of said. So, yeah, this was one that I looked at the time and it said it went on for 17 minutes. That was way too long. That is way too long for that matchup. All right. Next up, we get a Masters and Carlito segment, which, in all honesty, was pretty cool. No pun intended. I liked it because of the fact that Carlito, he first just asked the question to Masters. He's like, hey, okay, so question for you. What do Kurt Angle, Kane, John Cena, and Shawn Michaels all have in common? Masters just immediately goes, I got it. Not one of them has broken my master lock. He was like, no, they've all been WWE champion, you idiot. So they have this idea that, okay, we're going to have us double team everybody, and then at the end of the match, the two of us can fight to see who becomes WWE champion. Chris Masters, he's all for it. It was a great idea. Ironically enough, one thing we forgot to mention, on this day, it was Chris Masters' birthday. So he could have been the youngest WWE champion. But we'll talk about that matchup in just a bit. Out comes Shelton Benjamin with his mama. Shelton just wants an apology. Mama wants blood. Let me put it like that. Viscera comes out. They have a matchup. Less, again, to say about this matchup, the better. I'm just going to put it like this. Slow match. Visagra. Purse to the face. Benjamin wins. I'm done talking about this matchup. I'm out.
World's largest love machine, Viscera.
Yeah, I was actually entertained. Back then, I was kind of entertained by Viscera because I was a fan of Mabel when I was a kid. Visagra, though, yikes. And I love that Shelton broke out the money clip that, that spinning wheel kick that he does.
Yeah.
That's a finisher that he did on Heat pre-World's Greatest Tag Team when it was, he had that gimmick and that theme that was, it's all about the Benjamins. For some reason, that's coming back to my mind, but one more thing on Viscera. Do you remember his short-lived romance angle with Lillian Garcia?
Yep, I do, and I do remember the fact that it ended in Las Vegas because of one man and a bunch of ladies, and let's just say that instead of having a Hershey's Kiss, Viscera got a whole bunch of white chocolate that night.
Gross.
You know it's true, though. It's all right. So moving on from that, we have the Bra and Panties Gauntlet matchup. in which, hey, simple rules. All you have to do is strip down your opponent to their bra and panties. And you know something, Fretz? I'll take over for this one. So, it starts off with Candice Michelle and Maria. Maria, she gets her top taken off, but then Candice Michelle loses her stuff, so she's gone. Out comes Tori Wilson, which, oh my god, Tori Wilson doesn't age. Oh, she still looks as beautiful then as she does now. Just, oh my lord. Yep, she gets taken out, and then out comes Victoria, who literally is just like, no nonsense. One of these things does not belong here. Where she literally just takes Maria, she does her classic sidewalk slam, and Maria is just literally like incapacitated. She gets her pants removed, and it's like, okay, only one person left, or is it? Dun, 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 dun. Out comes the fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. And we get, oh god, 1 minute of forgetting things. Oh, Mae Young just deciding, hey, I'm going to have fun. I'm just going to put it like that. Victoria does not agree with this kind of fun. So what ends up happening is we get this weird, awkward deal where Mae Young and Moolah are basically trying to rip off Tori's top, but unfortunately it looks like Tori's got like a double bra or something like that. So her shirt is kind of caught in it. And they're just trying to rip it off, but there's also that bra that's still stuck there. It's like, what's going on here? And I understand what's happening, but I think it was just one of those situations where it was like a little bit of a weird wardrobe malfunction situation there. But it is what it is. Final competitor comes out, and it's Ashley Massaro. God rest her soul. She comes out, beats Victoria, and she wins. She would then go on to just undress for the entire world because Ashley is one of the greatest people that's ever lived. I mean, honestly, you have to remember she literally gave her phone number to win the competition, literally, and she also almost dropped an MF'er on national TV because she got pied in the face. Oh my god, I loved it. Ashley would go on to be a little bit of an interesting part of the Trish Stratus and Mickie James storyline, where she would get a women's title match against Trish the following night, which I thought was kind of cool. Then she would have a match with Mickie James at the Royal Rumble, where Trish was the special guest referee. She would eventually lose, and unfortunately she would be out of action due to a leg injury. That was kind of it for that. But in all honesty, this was just kind of one of those things where, teenagers, men, they would kind of enjoy this matchup. I kind of thought that there were some entertaining parts to this whole deal. Like anytime that Tori Wilson, Candice Michelle are kind of involved in this, they somehow ham it up so much that it's just really, that makes it even better. Victoria with just like the complete straight face deal of like, she does not even crack a smile in this entire deal. It's just really what makes it funny. And then there's Ashley. She's awesome. Again, God bless her soul. Then we get to another backstage deal in which we see Shelton Benjamin and Mama. They're answering questions. It gets revealed that, the purse has a brick inside because reasons. Why not? Then we move on to the main event, the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Cena defending against Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Chris Masters, Carlito, and Kane. Oh boy, howdy, was this going to be interesting. We find out the Chamber pods will be, the people in there will be Kane, Kurt Angle, Carlito, and Chris Masters. And by virtue of the Beat the Clock challenge, where he beat the Heartthrobs, did you forget about that tag team? Because I sure as hell didn't. And in all honesty, I thought that them and Victoria were the perfect fit for each other. I'm just saying. And also, Kane chokeslamming both of them to beat the clock. Awesome moment. I love it. So, matchup starts with Cena and Shawn Michaels, which, ironically enough, a year later, they would main event WrestleMania. Hey, a little bit of a future deal. A little bit of foreshadowing. So we have Carlito who comes in, then we have Kurt Angle come in, and then Chris Masters, and then Kane. A couple of spots from this matchup. We see Carlito do like the senton from the ring to the outside on Shawn Michaels, but unfortunately he forgot that there's some steel there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize that back in the day, this was not that safe, elimination chamber that we have nowadays, where, the steel is probably like less than what it was. The pads were probably not as, or the pods were not as, like shaped as they were. This was like legit, like 10 tons of steel. Pod doors were like bulletproof plexiglass or something like that, and it was just one of those things where it looked like it hurt, and it probably did hurt when it happened. Also, side note, they got, for the WWE Network deal, they got rid of the theme song, which is stricken by Disturbed. I hated that.
What?
I was pissed off by that because I remember thinking to myself, "Oh my god, this is gonna be great." Because I remember listening to that song during that hype deal. Just starting with like showing them off every single competitor, like, "Oh, this is Carlito, this is Match, this is Angle," and just hear that, "You don't know what your power has done to me. I want to know him in my heel, man." And I'm literally just looking at this like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." But they have this like generic like thing in the background, which I'm like, I hate everything about this network now. Yeah, we see Shawn Michaels. He gets launched into the chamber. He is gushing. He is literally like a stove pig. Carlito looked like he was about to tap out until Chris Masters got in. Kurt Angle, being a wrestling machine that he is just suplexing everybody. Looks like he's going to make John Cena tap out to the ankle lock. Boom! Sweet chin music out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Kurt Angle is gone. However, later on in the week, Kurt Angle would win the world title. Yeah, because Batista had to relinquish it because Mark Henry landed on him. Need I say more? And Kurt Angle will go on to main event WrestleMania with Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. Oh, I'm not even going into anything further than that because that match was kind of cool. And in all honesty, I like the story behind it. And it comes out with a really great WrestleMania moment. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Anyway, King comes in. He's wrecking everybody's shit. But Carlito and Chris Masters, they're finally letting their teamwork kind of come into play. They hit like this, I think, double DDT on Kane and then do this deal where Carlito gets lifted up by Masters into like this almost like a gorilla press deal. Masters drops Carlito onto Kane for a splash. They both cover Kane. 1, 2, 3. Kane is gone. So it's Carlito, Masters, Shawn Michaels, and Cena. Unfortunately, that wouldn't really last too much longer because Carlito and Masters would have the numbers game on Shawn Michaels. Shawn would get hit with the rolling cutter by Carlito for the elimination. So we now have the final 3. Cena gets busted open. He gets wrecked. And then Carlito, he says to Masters, Dude, get him in the master lock. Get him in the master lock. Give him the master lock. You got him, man. And Chris Masters, he locks in the master lock. And it was a situation where it was like, ooh, this would be a really good moment. This would be a really good moment. Carlito would hit a low blow on Chris Masters, roll him up for the 3 count. Carlito's like, oopsie. Cena rolls him up, 1, 2, 3. Cena retains the WWE Championship. And it seems like the event is over. Or is it? Because Vince McMahon, he comes out and he says, raise up the chamber, raise up the chamber. Congratulations on retaining the WWE Championship. However, your night is not over because this individual is cashing in his Money in the Bank privilege that he won at WrestleMania. John Cena will defend the WWE Championship against, drumroll, Edge.
On this day, I see clearly.
The Rated R Superstar cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase on John Cena on that night. And Edge, he would beat down on Cena. 1 spear. 1, 2, 3. No. Edge is like, wait, what? What? That was 3. Some people would think it was 3. But nope, it was a 2 count. So Edge decides, F it. Goes into the corner, and this excitement that he has on his face where he's just stomping in the corner. Bam. Hits another spear. Cover 1, 2, 3. Edge becomes the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And in honesty, this is one of those moments where I want to feel happy for him, but looking back at it, I think to myself, there's a lot of things that really happened in this night that really sucks for the dude. Because had they not mentioned the whole cash-in deal, I think that it would have been a more impactful deal, but it's the first one, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Secondly, Cena kicking out of the first spear, WTF, what sense did that make? The third thing that happened was that it looked like Edge was going to get his championship, but Mike Chioda, the poor guy, drops the belt as he was getting it. So Edge is literally there emotional. He's waiting for the championship, and it's like almost an eternity just to get him the championship belt. I feel sorry for the guy. His first title run was filled with like so much, just one thing after another. But finally, Edge, he's holding the championship. He's got it around his waist. He's making out with his love interest at the time. There's that moment where Edge is just there. People are just cheering for him. They're going crazy. There's a moment where Cena is just up that stage, and he's just all bloody in the face, and he's just kind of looking at him like he's the bad guy. Had the roles been reversed on that night, it would have been an interesting story. But there was also something else I wanted to talk about with this, but I want to kind of go into like a little bit of the history here. Edge would go on to have a live sex celebration with Lita the following night. He would defend the WWE Championship in a TLC match against Ric Flair. I want to say that was like the week after. He would then lose the title to Cena at Royal Rumble. Then at WrestleMania, he would go on to have one of the greatest hardcore matches of all time with Mick Foley. Oh, was that beautiful. Cena, on the other hand, he would go on to win the title, like I said, at Royal Rumble. He would then go on to find out that he will be facing Triple H at WrestleMania. They had that WrestleMania main event versus WrestleMania main event deal, which was like Orton, Mysterio, and Angle versus Triple H and Cena. And then they did these deals where they had WrestleMania Rewind matches, and then they had the match itself, which in all honesty was okay to say the least, if I remember it correctly. Maybe it's better once we get a chance to rewatch it again, but I don't remember too much from that event or that matchup that was kind of like outstandishly amazing. But no, I mean, honestly, just that moment there where Edge was the WWE champion, that was just a shocker. And I remember even as a kid seeing that and just being absolutely shocked. I was a Cena mark, and I was crushed to see Edge do that. So bravo for WWE for making some great writing decisions there, and for that creative moment. That was great. The Chamber itself, it was an okay matchup. It was not one of the better ones, but to have Edge cash in and win that WWE Championship, that was great. Now, I do have a little bit of a thing here. I would have booked it to actually have Chris Masters win the title, so that way people can make that statement of, oh, he's been the youngest WWE champion. Then you could have Edge still cash in, beat Chris Masters, have Chris Masters do his rematch, that kind of a deal, and you could still have him, be promoted, and he probably still would have been that guy that people could look at and be like, oh yeah, he's a former WWE champion. And honestly, with the way it was, I would probably have Chris Masters slowly turn face. Because, to be honest, Carlito was better as a heel. Chris Masters, I think he would have been a better face. And with that rivalry between the two of them that would eventually happen, I would have much rather seen that. I would have much rather seen Carlito as the heel, Masters as the face. I think that rivalry would have been a lot better. But that's just me. So, I've rambled on long enough. Mr. Fretz, your thoughts on the Chamber, the cash-in, just the event in its entirety?
It was really, really good. Now, there was a couple of... I'm going back to that stupid panties match, but Jerry Lawler... God, this is going to make such great audio. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not sick or anything, but... No, I'm actually not. I'm just trying to work some stuff through here. So, Jerry Lawler was on full pervert mode here. So he's just like saying something about, thanks for the memories, and when Candice Michelle came out, she used to carry a magic wand, you see. And then Jerry Lawler's like, hey, wave your magic wand over here and I'll wave mine back.
That's right.
No.
I remember that now.
And then Mae Young must have just watched Varsity Blues. And you know, okay, thank God you got that reference. Anyways, Elimination Chamber, the chamber. How good is Slow Chemical, Kane's Finger 11 entrance theme?
I love it.
It's the best. It's the best.
It's amazing.
And it was around either here or the Shelton Benjamin match that I began to notice that the fire-breathing dragon that was just above the New Year's Revolution logo, it was actually spitting out pyro, like pyro once in a while. Like that's a neat little thing. I just remember I forgot how much I loved Carlito, and that I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. The U sucks for Kurt Angle. And I didn't know that Cena was starting to get booed around this time. I thought it was at least another year later.
It was actually, I think it was actually even like SummerSlam. People were starting to turn on him because that was when people were starting going, "Let's go Cena, let's go Jericho, let's go Cena, let's go Jericho." So that was around that time.
And I'm seeing here, wow, what does that say? My writing sucks. I love that Carlito broke out his short-lived finisher, the rolling cutter, because literally everyone in the 2000s used the rolling cutter. Reno, Test, Cody, Angle taking everyone to Suplex City. Something about they say something about all Joey Styles. Yeah, we didn't mention that Joey Styles and Coach are being the commentators here. That was awesome. And they talked about something about Kurt Angle being all Impact. That wouldn't be till next year, Joey. A suplex over the rope, Carlito. Carlito is just hanging on and trying not to tap out for Chris Masters. I thought that was a really nice touch. Kurt Angle being gone, the first man gone, was a shock. And, Angle was always up for that. I loved it. Kane just going on a choke slam spree. The Master Lock Challenge. I loved every bit of it. Carlito breaking out the back cracker. A really nice double DDT. And just look at every time that Kane takes a DDT or a pedigree, he bumps on his knee. He doesn't go full face cutter. He goes right on his knee. We have we have a cool cutter on HBK, and you can kind of tell. Sometimes when wrestlers converse a little bit in the ring. Carlito was kind of huddled over Triple H, and I can kind of tell that he was thanking Triple H for putting him over right there, which I thought was just a great move by him.
You mean Shawn Michaels?
Yes, Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. We have Carlito double crossing his partner, the same person that he tagged with at WrestleMania that year to go up against the current tag champions, Kane and the Big Show. Carlito and Chris Masters. Super Cena and a spear. Edge. Oh, I loved this when Edge cashed in. I wasn't watching this live, but I found out on my message boards that night that it happened, and man, being an Edge fan since day one, I lost my crap. It was so good. A perfect moment here. I really like your rebooking of it. I'm okay with it the way it is, but I think Masters should have had some kind of run at some point. I thought he was Intercontinental Champion, but he was not.
No,
I'm sad now.
He was never any champion during that time, and it is sad. Yeah, honestly, this was a pretty good show, and in all honesty, I was surprised that it only lasted about almost 3 hours. I literally look at this and I think to myself, wow, this was actually a productive 3-hour watching deal compared to a lot of the Raws that we've seen over the past few years, where it feels like your life is just being drained away. So, yeah, no, honestly, it was pretty good. Was it the perfect pay-per-view? No, but at the same time, it was still one of those events that, you just enjoyed it. think, definitely, the Mickie James versus Trish match was great. Match between the Elimination Chamber, the cash-in, that was great. Like, the meh moments were kind of, the Bra and Panties Gauntlet. The opening match with Flair and Edge, even though it definitely did kind of open up a little more to the story between the two of them. The Triple H Big Show deal, that was another meh kind of deal. Worst matchup of the night, honestly, for me, goes to Jerry Lawler and Helms, because the dude did not deserve to be beaten there just so that Jerry Lawler could get that. It was almost like the Triple H effect in 2011, where it's like what CM Punk says, and I quote, it's like, he fucking did, didn't he? He came out of retirement, he beat me, and then he went back into retirement. It was kind of the same thing with Jerry Lawler here, where it's like, he comes in, beats Gregory Helms, and then he just goes back to doing whatever he does. It's like, why? No point. Alright, so, closing off the show, definitely wanted to do a little bit of an interesting deal where we're going to be doing some either crazy or our bold predictions going into 2020 as far as wrestling goes. So, I've been doing a lot of talking, so Mr. Fretz, let's start with you. What's your first bold prediction going into 2020?
Yeah, tapping this mic, that totally worked. CM Punk does not wrestle.
Nice. Honestly, I would agree with that. That's not one of my bold predictions, but I do agree with that. As far as me, first bold prediction, I predict that Tessa Blanchard wins the Impact World title before the year is over. Not going to say that's happening at Hard to Kill. I think, in all honesty, you need to make that championship run. You need to make that chase, very more. What's the phrase I'm looking for? A lot more dramatic. I think you need to have Sami Callihan retain the first time around, and second time around, we definitely do see Tessa's got his number, and maybe have the final one be a title versus career match between Callihan and Blanchard, because this would be one of those things where it's like, well, maybe Tessa's staying with Impact Wrestling. Maybe she's actually leaving to go to AEW or to WWE. You never know. So, actually, I don't know if her contract is expiring this year or if it's expiring within the next couple of years. But that would be the perfect way to really build up a lot of, repertoire and a lot of deal where people can watch this and be like, ooh, it's suspenseful because we don't know. Is Tessa going to stay with Impact? Is she going to leave? What's going on? Just have that kind of deal. So, like I said, we are going to have a women's world champion by the time the year is over, and I believe it's going to be Tessa Blanchard.
I think that's actually happening next weekend, honestly. I think it's happening now. Next one, The Fiend has a championship run that lasts throughout the entire year.
Ooh.
And he is the man that will defeat and actually for good retire The Undertaker at Survivor Series.
Oh, Survivor Series, not at WrestleMania.
Nope. Survivor Series will be the 30th anniversary of his debut. So I think they're going to try and drag this one out. I think Taker is going to have a presence at WrestleMania this year. I think it might be along the lines of that Cena squash they did in Nolans. But I'm not sure Taker's going to have a main, a main storyline match. Although they're doing this at Rumble, no. My Royal Rumble is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is taking on The Fiend at Mania, but I think The Fiend is going to destroy him. And this is going to be a historic run, and he's a little bit heelish now, but I think he's going to be the biggest heel in the company at the end of the year.
That'd be pretty cool, though. Alright, so, I'll go into a WWE one. Bold prediction for this one. Drumroll here. Drew McIntyre becomes WWE Champion before the year ends.
I had the exact same thing next. Literally.
It's literally one of those things where people are saying, like, oh, he's going in for a push, he's going to be up in there. It's like, he has to have... I think, in all honesty, we could see Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think that would be the best way to have that. You have somebody who literally is the Scottish Terminator. He's taken on everything that Brock Lesnar has, but he's coming back, and he is there to just wreck Brock's shit. In all honesty, maybe having him face Drew McIntyre, taking on the newly refurbished heel Seth Rollins, would be another kind of pay-per-view buy rate up-getter. Never know. I think that'd be great.
Yep. Although I have a few more written down for WWE, I just want to do this one more for WWE before I go to NXT.
Okay.
205 Live is canceled. The rosters merge with NXT. Some of the roster members go to NXT UK. Some of them leave. Like, I heard that Drew Gulak actually applied for the trademark of Catch Point. So, what does that mean? Is he going to leave and reform Catch Point and evolve in the Indies? Selfishly, I would like to have him around, but he's done nothing on SmackDown. He's just been comic fodder for Braun Strowman, which, I mean, breaks my heart, because Drew Gulak is probably one of the most talented, underrated guys they have. I could see him being in the Kurt Angle spot. I said the same thing about Chad Gable, and look where the hell he is. Right. So, yeah, we've seen the Cruiserweight title on NXT lately anyways with Angel Garza. So, yeah. So I think, 205 Live, it's either going to be canceled or they're going to start taping at Full Sail, but then people are talking about how NXT is going to go on the road and not have so much of a presence at the Full Sail arena. That's just my bold thing for it. My next two WWE predictions are, they're not worth talking about, honestly.
Fair enough. Alright, so next one will be for AEW. The bold prediction that I have for that is that by the end of the year, actually, I'm going to go as far as to say that by the time we hit August, that this person will be the AEW World Champion, and that person being MJF. In honesty, I do think that Maxwell Jacob Freeman is going to be the World Champion. He is one of the most over heels, and in all honesty, as much as I love Jericho, he's going to be one of those guys who's going to put over. He's going to put over a huge babyface, whether it is Cody, whether it's Omega, whether it's Moxley, whoever it might be. But that's just going to lead to MJF winning the title and being the guy that everybody is going to go after. So I do think that before August, I'm calling it right now, MJF becomes the world champion.
That leads in. I was going to talk about NXT, but since you started with AEW, I wrote down MJF wins the title. And I also wrote down Britt Baker becomes the women's champion. AEW introduces an undercard title. Whether that's going to be, I heard, was it Cultaholic did their pit? This is just they do their pitches. It's not fantasy booking. It's what they want for AEW, and they said a undercard title, and they said call it the TNT title, which I like. I actually like that because the show's called Dynamite. You're on TNT. The TV title is just so over. Every indie promotion in the entire United States and Canada have a TV title, even though some of these ones aren't on TV. and I have one big one. We're going to have one big debut on AEW. It's going to happen in Chicago. It's going to happen at All Out. Tessa Blanchard.
Whew. That would be beautiful. Oh, I would love to see that.
Yep, because it's after. I think she, as I said, she's winning the title on the 12th of January, and I'm willing to bank on that, and I'm willing to bet money on that. But I don't have any money because I want to start saving up for a house. So let's not be too hasty. All right, I have NXT up next, but you take the wheel, sir.
All right. I guess for NXT prediction, I mean, it's going to go without saying that I do think Tommaso Ciampa is going to be NXT champion. As far as another person who could be an NXT champion within this year, Keith Lee. I think, in all honesty, they're going to build him up to that point Do I think he's going to be NXT champion very soon? No. But I do think that Keith Lee is going to be the one who dethrones Roderick Strong to become the North American champion. Either that, or he's going to team up with Dijakovic and become the tag team champions, or he's going to team up with maybe Ciampa. Maybe it's a situation where Ciampa and Keith Lee are kind of like strange bedfellow tag team partners, and they win the tag team titles there. It's kind of like, the Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels deal, or maybe the dude like. In all honesty, there's a lot of people that have done something like that, but why not? I think the big one that will definitely come out from NXT, bold prediction here. Oh man, I want to think of like a really, really good one for that one. You know what? Come back to me on the bold prediction one. I do want to hear yours though.
Okay, so I have Ciampa wins the NXT title. Yes, he wins the title at Tampa. And then he reforms DIY.
Ooh.
And he turns again.
Because why the hell not?
Because this feud deserves a proper conclusion. And do I want to say it at TakeOver Boston or...
TakeOver War Games?
Okay, yes. TakeOver Boston. We're going to see that because let's just say there's a TakeOver in June. Let's call it TakeOver Baltimore. I don't know where it's going to be.
TakeOver Grunt.
TakeOver Green Bay.
TakeOver It's Adam Blumpy would say.
Also that. Or like... take over Sabo Beach. Oh, God. Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, my town of 2,000 people having a wrestling ring. Yikes. I'd be there in a second. But, yeah, there's going to be, there's a DIY versus Red Dragon, because I think that Red Dragon might still be the tag champions by then, unless they leave, because there's no other team in the main NXT roster I can see having a run with them yet. So... unless they send back another team like the Revival or something. But I should have said in AEW, that's going to be one of my other debuts this year is the Revival. But, yeah, DIY breaks up again. Ciampa becomes despicable again. And at TakeOver, let's say, Boston or something, Gargano wins the title again. Because I think bit by bit, the Undisputed Era is going to start to crumble. Keith Lee is my pick to dethrone Roddy. Ciampa's my pick to dethrone Cole. As for Red Dragon, unless the team like Everrise gets exposure or Breezango, unless you bring the Grizzled Young Veterans or South Wales Subculture over from UK, I don't know. And I had one more from NXT, and it was that Josh Briggs is going to sign.
Yeah. I think that as far as bold prediction, I'm going to make it right now. I think that NXT will sign a major player in the women's division. I think that before the year's over, they're going to sign the NWA Women's Champion, that being Allison Kay. Now, that's a very bold prediction on my part. And maybe Allison Kay is somebody who likes where she's at right now. But WWE is going to need to really start picking up a lot of people. And for me, I would have loved to have said somebody like a Rosemary, for instance. But it's one of those things where it's like, I see her contract expiring, and I see Rosemary going to AEW next year. Because I think it's February 2021 when her contract's up. So I see Rosemary going more to AEW to work with Allie again, but I could be wrong. Maybe she's an Impact lifer through and through, but in all honesty, it's one of those things that it's someplace she's called home and made a lot of really great matches and a lot of great memories there, so I don't see a reason why not. But yeah, I think that Allison Kay is going to get signed to NXT before the year is over.
Nice, that's a big one. Big signee. I think that we are going to I'm going to I'll have to flip a coin because I don't know which of the two promotions that we're going to see Marty Scurll.
Oof, that's true.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he signs with AEW.
I agree.
And he'll be he won't appear anytime anywhere soon, mostly because he's going to have a feud with Nick Aldis for the NWA title. Chicago. He's going to be in Chicago. And I'm not saying that because I'm wearing the villain on my shirt right now, but yes, we're going to see Marty Scurll in AEW and turning on the Elite. Okada, Omega versus Scurll at Full Gear 2020.
That would be absolutely fantastic. Alright, so I'll come up with one more bold prediction for this. Man. Because, gosh, there's a lot of really interesting deals going on here. Okay, I'll do one more for, like, AEW. Maybe there's, like, a big person that they could sign in there. Because you mentioned Marty Scurll. That'd be great. Maybe there's, like, a big match or something that's got to go there. I'm trying to think of like anything really crazy that would probably happen because crazy in WWE doesn't really happen unless crazy you want to blow your head off. NXT, anything that you can imagine happens will more than likely happen. I'm trying to think like maybe you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I think before the end of the year. I think before the year's over that I did mention MJF will probably get the title before for August. I think in all honesty that the year will end with Cody Rhodes as AEW World Champion. Like we mentioned before, there's always that deal where it's like, oh, never challenge for the title, never really stands in there. But it could very much likely happen, and to be honest, they could incorporate some very interesting people into this. I mean, they have the whole deal with, New Japan possibly happening. Can you imagine, MJF basically having Cody go through hurdles, having him face guys like, Jay White, or, oh God, Cody versus Okada. Whew, that would be amazing. I think I need to go and get a new pair of underwear. That would just be absolutely awesome. Yeah, oh man, I mean, Tanahashi, it just, so many possibilities for that. Even if they wanted to, they could do a deal with NWA and have a rematch between Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis, which I would be okay with because they put on great matches. So I think that, MJF and Cody Rhodes are going to be world champion before the year is over. I say MJF is going to be first before August. Cody will be champion by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you right there because I think Moxley's actually winning the title at Revolution, and then MJF is going to be the guy that beats Moxley, let's just say, at All Out, and then I'll say it again, Full Gear, Full Circle, 1 year later after Full Gear 2019, Cody wins it.
Oh, man. So these were crazy, but yet bold predictions that we're making as far as 2020 goes. Very looking forward to seeing how it goes into 2020 and seeing how either right we will be or how mercifully wrong we're going to be. But we'll have to wait and see. So, guys, this has been the Game Changer Podcast, the first episode in 2020. We told you about some of the great things that have been going on. Definitely check out our partners over at the Kings of the Rings podcast at KOTR podcast. You can check out Mr. Fretz on his Twitter at the legendary JF. You can find me on Twitter at RealFNGame. We also have a Facebook fan page for WrestleKingdom Radio as well as for the Game Changer podcast. Check us out on so many different podcasting formats to listen to our show because it's awesome. Like we mentioned before, so many things happening in Patreon as well as podcasting. I mentioned, of course, next month, SoCal Val and I will be doing a bit of a relationship episode, which will be interesting. Not really wrestling related, but still It's a lot of fun, and it's with SoCal Bell. People are going to enjoy it. I mentioned before that I will be at AW Revolution in the downtown Chicago area, I believe it is, in February, so definitely check that out. And also C2E2 is happening then, so you might want to check that out as well. I know that I've got a list of people that I would like to meet. One, of course, being a girl that I got to shout out, Leva Bates, who loves like 9/10s out of my tweets that I send to her, but she probably does that for a lot of people. But you know something? I still feel a great connection with her because she's absolutely amazing. And Leva Bates, she should be women's champion this year. That's my other bold prediction. The librarian gets the title before the year's over. I'm calling it right now. Leva Bates gets the title. I don't care. It's my crazy prediction, damn it. You can shake your head all you want. I don't care. Jeez, I think I've covered everything. All except for WrestleAddict Radio's Twitter, which is addict_wrestle. Like we said before, we'll keep you guys updated over the next couple weeks on what's going on, who's getting added on, and what indeed is going down WrestleAddict Radio. So, for Mr. Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. We will talk to you guys in the next episode. Oh, man. It's been tiring. It's been great. Time to call it a night.
Peace out.
Peace. Too sweet.